Working. And, punch, punch. Yeah. Okay.
Good morning, honourable members. Can you all hear me? Thank you. We've been struggling with the microphones, as you know. Good morning and welcome to all of you. Welcome also to the MEC, Honourable MEC, Moka. Thank you very much for making the time to be with us, sir. And to your team from education. It's a very long, the big delegation today. And of course, to all the members, that goes without saying, welcome to all of you. These are long Scopa days, and I appreciate you making the time and applying your minds to the work at hand. Right, so, Kabo, are there any, of course, and a welcome to any colleagues and members that are on the online platform. Do we have any apologies, Kabo? No apologies received. Okay, we're going to quickly just do the normal going around and introducing ourselves. Yesterday, I caused a bit of a ruckus by going to my right, so today I will go to my left. Unfortunately, we can't go centre middle because there's no one there. But we'll go to the left today. So I'll start with myself. My name is Tim Broughterset, and I'm a chair of Scopa and a proud member of the Scopa committee. And I'll now go to my left, starting with the most important gentleman in the room, my committee, the man who makes our committee work. So if we can start with you, Kabo, and then go around, all the way around, and then we'll end up with the MEC. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chairperson. Morning, honorable members and honorable MEC, Chairperson. My name is Kabo Mkwana, as coordinator for Scopa.
Morning, Chairperson, honorable members and colleagues. My name is Monica Wilson. I'm the legal advisor to the committee and to the Education Portfolio Committee.
Morning, Honorable Chair. My name is Tutuana Madondo. I'm the member of the Portfolio Committee of Education.
Good morning, Chairperson and everyone present. I'm Imran Kika, a member of the Education Portfolio Committee.
Good morning, Honorable Chairperson, Honorable MEC, Honorable members and colleagues. My name is Andile Biela, member of Scopa.
Good morning, Honorable Chairperson, honorable members, the MEC and the department. My name is Fikile Masigo. I am a member of the Portfolio Committee for Education.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Honorable Marlene Naya, and I'm a member of the Scopa Portfolio Committee.
Good morning, everybody. Lawrence de Klerk, member of Scopa.
Good morning, Honorable Chair, Honorable MEC, colleagues, the officials. My name is Teliwe Madlopa. I'm the member of the Scopa.
Honorable Chair, Honorable MEC members, and the department. I am Ketum Tandayo Dlungwane, member.
Good morning, Chairperson. My name is Mervyn Dirks. I am the chief whip of the largest political party in this legislature, and I'm a member of Scopa.
Honorable Chair, MEC, honorable members, na wonke umuntu okhona igama lami nguSiphiwe Ngwakamoyo Mbatha kuScopa.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Jacob Matonsela.
Lotshani ngiwuhlengiwe wakwamavimbela imember ye-portfolio yakwa-education.
Morning, Chair and MEC, honorable members, officials, uMongumusa Mkhize, oyimember yaleli committee, umfana kababa.
Morning, Chair. The honorable members, the department. I'm Stembi Somakubane, the member of the Scopa. Thank you.
Good morning, Chair. Good morning, HO, MEC, and honorable members. My name is Tsorani Mhlanga. I am the ICT in this committee.
Elele, Slalo, Kamalamulaki, Hatebe, member committee.
Morning, Chair. My name is Netlata Sabia, Senior Manager from the Auditor General.
Good morning, Chair. Good morning to the honourable members, honourable MEC, the Senior Management from Education. My name is Nombulelo Ngome. I am the Stakeholder Liaison Manager at the HSA.
Good morning, Chair, honourable MEC, honourable members. My name is Vincent Mieni, Head of Ministry, KZN Education Department. Thank you.
Good morning, Honourable Chair, honourable members, honourable MEC, HOD, DDGs, and colleagues. My name is Ndogozo.
There's one member on the virtual platform, Honorable Ngadi. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Morning, Chair. Morning, everybody. Honorable Ngati here online.
Thank you very much, Honorable Ngadi. All right, introductions all done. We will now move over to the business of the day. We are trying to keep a very tight timeline today because we are very pressed we have many commitments and some surprises. Thank you, gentlemen, on the left there. And so we really want to keep to time. Honourable MEC, I'd like to give you the opportunity if you'd like to address the committee for 5 minutes if you can, if that's possible. And then we will go into your presentation, HOD. I've got to have to limit that to 30 minutes. So I'll address you when we get there. But MEC, the floor is yours. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Chair. I will mindful of time, as I understand that your schedule for today is tight. We really want to appreciate this opportunity to come and account to the Scopa about the finances of the department. We promise that we will respond to any matters that we are aware of and that we have prepared to present here in the Scopa. I must indicate, Chair, that we have been meeting with also a portfolio of education and accounting on number of reports on issues that have been requested by the portfolio committee because we understand that we are guided by the policies and the acts of Republic and the Constitution to account on a number of issues. We are meeting today the reports that will be presented in terms of the resolution that were taken before. I know that there will are issues of irregular and wasteful expenditures that we need to account on how are we dealing with it as per the resolution that have been taken, and how far are we dealing with the issues that also raised by the Auditor General. I think it's important also to indicate that because of the challenges of finance, the honourable members, they are aware that we are not filling most posts because of the budget challenges, except 2 posts that have been approved by the Department of Treasurer, which is CFO, as we already don't have a CFO. That's why Ms. Mlaba, she's acting. And also 1 post for district director, who are still really suffering. But we hope that in the postponed budget speech, we're hoping that we will get something as per our engagement with the national department. I'm not to go to details, Chair, as I prepare because I'm mindful of your time, but I must indicate that we are working with Department of Health to deal with the challenges that are faced in a number of schools, especially in the north of eThekwini. The MEC for Health have visited some of our schools to deal with the challenges, especially in those schools, and we are going to provide report to the portfolio and also to this committee if that is needed. Having said that, thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you very much, MEC. And obviously, I'm assuming you'll be with us for the length of the engagement. So if there are issues you'd like, I will give you an opportunity at the end to make some final remarks if you'd like. All right, so now we move on to the presentation by the HOD. We've received your responses, HOD. So one of my pet peeves is I hate people reading a document to me that I've already read. So I'm freeing you of that. You don't have to read through it word for word, but if you could maybe just give us the highlights, because I need to unfortunately limit you to 30 minutes. So if you can just give us the big points, we will obviously then I will turn over to members and they will ask questions, and then we can get into the more granular detail. But before we start that process, HOD, you know we all have to swear. You have a very large delegation here today. I doubt they all have to swear. So who do you anticipate will be the contributors? Maybe we can get them to make their affirmations or their oaths. And then if any others are going to speak, we'll just ask them to do an affirmation before they start. Who do you anticipate?
Thank you very much.
Sorry, Chair. Just 1 second. I'm not intending to disturb your meeting. It's just that we are receiving message here that there's an IA recording or whatever is happening on this meeting. Now, we do not know if that is procedural. You know, yes. So it's
IA or AI?
IA or IAI, same thing.
Not really.
You know what I want to say.
Sorry.
You know, so now our understanding is that the legislature records these meetings. Now, if there are external other recordings, we need to know. Now, we are being notified here that there are external recordings. You know, I'm not sure if that is permissible. I'm just asking out of ignorance, probably.
Okay. What is happening is if you look at it, I see it, it's from Mohammed. All right? So this has actually happened at all our other hearings. Our hearings are carried live on Facebook and they're carried live on YouTube. So that's what it is. So, and that was part of my initiative. I wanted the work of Scopa to be accessible to the people of the province. So we don't have channel 408 available to us, if you can let me finish. And so effectively what we're doing here today is live on YouTube and on Facebook for those who would like to follow our proceedings. Because as you know, Honourable Ngloane, our engagements are public and any members of the public can attend. And of course they can, just like Parliament, they can watch online as well.
Yeah, Chair, you really doing things in a different way. You should not do that without consulting us. You know,
well, it's done.
No, Chair. No, it doesn't work like that, Chair. It really doesn't. Anything that affects this committee, it's us that must take a decision. It cannot be a unilateral decision. It does not necessarily mean that we'll disagree with that view, but it cannot happen that you say to us, it's done. You know, that is really out of order. You know, and this committee must take its own decisions. It cannot be taken. No, Chair, allow me to finish. You know, unless if I'm out of order.
Well, Honourable Ngloane, I'm very sad that you're bringing this up in front of the department. But anyway, you've raised the issue. Honourable Ngloane, did you attend the workshop last year that we held at the SOU offices? I don't think you did.
Chair,
and
I'm raising a fundamental issue here that affects the.
You know, you are completely out of order now. The chair is speaking, and you're just coming.
No, if you did the same, I learned it from you. Yes, because you interjected, and when I did not finish.
All right, let's see. Why don't
I can do that? No, it's fine. I can do that. Yes, yes. You had not heard me what I was saying. I had not finished. You wanted to answer. It's unfair.
Chair.
It's unfair.
Chair. Chair.
Honourable Magabane, I see your hand. Can I respond? Unfortunately, this was something to discuss at the workshop in December last year, to discuss to make the work of Scopa more accessible to the people of the province. In terms of that, I met with our planning team 2 weeks ago, and I said to Bongani Tembe, I said, please arrange that our hearings would be going out and that would be accessible to the people of the province. It was one of the resolutions taken at the workshop. Unfortunately, that seems to have been forgotten or missed, and that is why it has been done. I proceeded on the basis that that was a commitment of the committee. Unfortunately, not everybody attended that workshop late last year, but anyway, that's one of the reasons. Can we please discuss this as a committee when we get the opportunity? Honourable Magabani.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, let's correct this so that it cannot go out of hand. I was part of the workshop in Durban in December, towards the 16th. It did appear on our conversations and discussions that we need to be more proactive on social media, but it was never a resolution. It was a discussion. But it needed then to come back to the members as to how we embarking on that route, so that we can be more proactive. Sorry, on social media. We cannot take, not one person can take a decision for 11 members of the committee. So now we're having this discussion in front of the department officials, of which it's something that we were supposed to have an agreement on it together, and then we vote on it if we need to vote. Going on social media, being live and be proactive on social media, it cannot be a one-man decision. It cannot. The members of the committee needs to be part of that decision, and they know, I know as well myself, as to which route are we taking to attend the issue of being more proactive on the media. It cannot be a one man's decision. Even yesterday, there was a legal opinion that the members never knew about it. So it cannot continue like that. We need to fix that.
Honourable Kika.
Thank you, Chairperson. Chairperson, I don't want to delve into the issues of your committee, but I just want to make a comment on the AI tool specifically. We have somebody from IT here who can offer us an explanation. What I found is that all committees that are online have an AI tool that allows for the recording of the meeting and a summary of the meeting provided through that AI tool at the end. And I think that is the AI tool that is being referred to. The
Chair,
issue of the
on a point of order. Chair.
May I finish my point?
Chair.
Yes, member, can we let him finish?
Chair, it's a point of order.
Okay, what is the point of what rule are you rousing on? What rule are you rousing on? If it's a point of order,
listen to me. Please listen to me.
Chair, the thing
Honorable
is that
Kika is a member of a committee of education. This matter is being dealt with by Scopa members. So the Scopa members will deal with the matter afterwards. They've raised the issue. You must give us a
he's a legitimate member in this forum. Let him make his comments. I will let you make your comments as well.
Let me finish my point.
I'm getting lots of hands now. So it's Honourable Kika, Honourable Naya, Honourable Biela.
So Chairperson, this is a mechanism for recording. What you and your committee will do about publicly advertising the work of your committee and so on, that is a different matter. But as far as the AI tool goes, this is how the legislature uses it. And I think to clarify that issue, you can ask for a conversation between Cabo and Pulani here, and they will clarify that matter. It's a simple thing. Everybody uses it.
Okay.
Thank you, Chair. And I agree with the members that say, I just want to say I agree with the members that say that one person cannot make a decision of the committee. However, in this instance, it is an administrative decision whether to publicize the meeting, have a link put on live or not. There have been instances where we have not had the opportunity to broadcast live because we didn't have the equipment and so on. But where it is possible, my opinion is that the public should be aware of the work of any committee in this legislature. But I think that we should not take my opinion. We have a legal advisor for the committee. We should get a legal opinion as to whether something wrong has been done and whether this is solely an administrative issue for the chair and the coordinator or for the entire committee. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Chair. I'm not sure how the meeting got to this point, but I speak under correction. The Honorable Lungwana raised a valid concern. And his concern was that there is an AI, artificial intelligence tool, that is recording or transcribing our processes. I think all that it required was clarity around the legality of that tool and the permission for the tool to do that. I don't think the Honorable Lungwana was necessarily arguing that our meetings should not be public, but it was a concern around the use of AI. And therefore, I want to propose, Chair, that we seek legal advice on your left to determine if within the legislature rules, it's allowed for AI. If it is, we proceed. If it's not, it gets removed. I think it's more of a legal clarity more than a discussion around publicizing our meetings, because I think it's common knowledge that all our meetings are online anyway. So I don't think the issue he was raising was around publicizing our meeting, but rather on the use of AI in the meetings. It's just clarity more than anything. I speak under correction. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Biela. Honorable Matlopa.
Thanks, Honorable Chair. Honorable Chair, I agree with Honorable Biela. However, I don't think it's a matter of now that we need a legal opinion. The Chair did indicate that we must discuss it at a later stage. This particular matter, we must focus on the agenda. Because really what has been raised by Honorable Lungwana, it's correct to say that all of us, whatever decision is taken to this committee, so that whatever is said outside, we defend the committee, we defend the chair, because we know what is going on. I think, as the colleague is indicating, because even yesterday we raised the concern around the issue of the legal opinion that only goes to the chair, not the members of the committee. And this is unacceptable. But at the moment, I don't think we need legal opinion. We'll discuss it later, as the chair was saying, but now let us focus on the business of the day, Chair. Thanks.
Any other speakers on this matter? No, Honorable Glogwane, please carry on.
It's just that the matter took the way it took. And if you had really understood the spirit that one was raising this matter, this was not the manner in which, and I think it's the manner in which the response from your side then took this matter into a different direction. But I think this is not a major issue. You know, it's the issue that we can be able to deal with. You know, clarity and so forth should have just been enough. You know, and rather than tracking ready, it's unnecessary. I think, Chair, at this point in time, let's just close this matter and continue with our meeting.
Any other speakers?
Thanks, Chair. All I have to say is the issue should be dealt with at the Wippery Forum. It should be transversal to all committees. It should not be done piecemeal. So I think the answer is simple, that it's put before the Wippery and a decision is made on behalf of all committees how it will be done. And then there is a proper process in place, so it shouldn't be a problem. Thank you.
Chair?
Sure, Honorable Matlopa, please carry on.
Thanks, Chair. No, I differ with the colleague. This committee is not a super committee that can take a decision for other committees.
No, Sam, it must be referred to the...
Yeah, we are discussing it as a committee. So we can't take decision for other committees, Chair. I think I support what Honorable Lungwana is saying. Let us close this matter and then just go to the business of the day.
Any other speakers? Right. If the committee has I would like to respond. First of all, I was not aware of this AI issue. That effectively appears from the explanations to be like an electronic Hansard. It appears to fulfill that function. I assumed from the message that I was not aware of what you were talking about, Honorable Gwane. I looked at the message and I saw the Facebook link and I saw the YouTube link, and I took that to be an interpretation of what, and my recollection is slightly different to Honorable Magubani, that we had said we would make sure the business of the committee was public. All right? And for me, that was just a natural progression of that. Perhaps I expressed it incorrectly. I believe that that was a resolution of the committee from the workshop that we would be more vocal. So I misread your query, all right, simply because, and I must say, we have not had a chairs meeting in a very long time, as you know, and as Honourable Kika knows, and Honourable Naya knows. Maybe this could have been explained to us at a chairs meeting to say, this is the program, and when you raised the issue, or maybe you would not have raised it because it would have been explained to all of us chairs. However, I think the matter has now resolved itself, hopefully. And let's proceed. If we may, Honourable Magabani, please continue.
I think we need to continue with the agenda of the day, because when we keep on referring to that workshop, we cannot take a resolution in a workshop, because we only take resolutions in a meeting, for straightforward meeting. So I think even when with quorum, we were not having quorum due to many members were busy. It was during festive time. So let's discuss it once we're done with the agenda of the day, then we have a discussion on this. Thank you.
Okay, but you see, there's still a problem that sits here. And unfortunately, if we can take another hour to sort this out, it reduces the time we spend in department, but let's sort it out. Right now, this hearing is being carried live on YouTube and Facebook. Must I issue an instruction that feed stops? Because the committee has not discussed it. I'm putting it in your hands, members. I can issue an instruction that it stops forthwith. To make yourselves happy, and we can discuss later whether we want to cover our thing.
Chair.
Honourable Glogwani?
Yeah, Chair, you are misunderstanding where we stand. We are not against YouTube, your Facebook, and all. We are not. We're raising a specific issue here which we're not aware on. But we have no issue with this being, features live on Facebook and YouTube and any other platform. So you are misreading really us that's not what we are. So there's no need to say we must then stop. There's really no need. We're just asking clarity on this thing that we do not know, so that we know. It's not the time now where things happen when you do not know and you agree with it. We need to know everything that happens and the reason behind. That's the main issue or the area of concern was. But otherwise, all of the continuing thing, they must continue. It's okay.
Honourable Naya?
Chair, I want to still stand by what I said earlier. We are really going in circles. We have to have a legal opinion as to whether a committee needs to take a decision or resolution as to whether we will use AI and publicize our meetings via the social media platforms. I think that will settle the matter. It doesn't need to be postponed and discussed at another date. We just need a legal opinion, and that's it.
Colleagues, would you mind if we carry on with the meeting? I would like to... All right, make a point.
The point of order is that the matter...
You just now.
The point of order is that the matter is closed. And Honorable Zungwana is indicating that we are not against, using any social platforms. It was only the question because we never knew that now we are using this. So now it's closed. I don't know what legal opinion now we are looking for. We are saying that we must continue with the business of the day. No legal opinion, because it was a question of clarity of something that we don't know. So now it has been explained, this is what we are doing. There is no problem. There is no discussion. It's closed. We are going to the business of the day, Chair. Please, let's do that.
Is that the position of the committee? No, the committee has said that I'll make decisions on my own, so I'm deliberately now saying, is that the position of the committee? May we proceed with the business of the day? All right, fantastic. Thank you. Can we now proceed? HOD, you've had a long time to consider who's going to be speaking primarily. If you could maybe just start with the oath or affirmation to those that are necessary, and then we will proceed with the business.
Thank you very much. In the main, it will be the DDGs who will respond to questions, and therefore it's going to be the CFO next to me, Mr. Mazibuko. Next we have Wezwe and DDG Masuku, who are going to be taking. Other officials will do so.
Chair.
Yes. Yes, Honourable Turks.
Chair, I think let us start quickly. Let all the members take the oath, because we will be directing questions. I hear what the HOD said, who are the people that will speak, but we may direct questions to any of these members. So let them just take the oath, so that when we direct questions to them directly, then they already have taken that oath. Thank you.
Yes, Honourable Dirks. Yeah, you told me this morning to be very strict with time. I'm trying to do that. That's unfortunately disappeared now. All right, you know what, HOD, can everybody, all of your officials, please take the oath? Please remember, you put your right hand up, because I know members opposite will object if you don't. Put your right hand up. Either say, I hereby swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but truth, so help me God. If you'd rather make an affirmation, just say, I affirm that I will tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Okay. Please, if you would mind, proceed. And please remember to raise that hand. Otherwise, we'll have to ask you to do it again. Thank you very much.
I affirm that I'll tell the truth and the truth only. Thank you.
I affirm that I will tell the truth, nothing but the truth, so help me God.
I swear that I will tell the truth and nothing else but the truth, and I swear to God. Thank you very much.
I swear that I will tell the truth and nothing but the truth. Okay.
I, Peggy Masuku, hereby swear that I will tell the truth, nothing else but the truth.
I affirm that I will tell the truth and nothing but the truth.
I, Mondli Mlangeni, affirm that I will tell the truth and nothing but the truth.
I, Vugan Kumalo, affirm that I will tell the truth and nothing but the truth.
I, Tamsang Mbanjwa, swear that I will tell the truth and only the truth. Thank you.
I, Ntokozo Maphumulo, I swear that I'll tell the truth, nothing else but the truth, so help me God.
I, Vincent Mieni, I swear to tell the truth, only the truth, so help me God.
All right. Okay. Thank you, everybody. Right, HOD, the floor is yours. Can I give you 30 minutes? So it's now 9:41. Let's give you to 10:15 if you need it. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honourable Chair. We are going to be led in the presentation of our responses by Ms. Mlaba, the acting CFO, who will take us through now.
Thank you, HOD. Thank you. Good morning again to the honorable members. We're going to go straight to the resolutions and the responses to the resolution. The first one is the resolution 161 of 2024, talking to the material uncertainty relating to the going concern. The resolutions was talking to debt collection period, which continues to be impacted by low recovery. The debt collection period, which is expecting to worsen, creates a payment period, which has decreased from 22 to 11 days. The department's response is that the department is monitoring the debt recovery, and we have seen a net decrease in the month of January of 5.2 million. And this is as a result of the implementation of the processes that makes districts and schools to give early warning signs for those terminations, which were a significant contributor to
Yeah, please, let's not stop for another half an hour conversation. Okay, please continue. Thank you.
Yes, it was contributing to late termination. So now the significant contributors would be the pillar cases, the policy incapacity and ill health retirement. Those are the ones that are pushing our debt up. We are intending to implement a verification of payroll system, which will minimize the debt. And unfortunately, the non-funding of the wage agreement will continue to put pressure on the department in terms of meeting the 30-day payment requirement, especially for transactions that are relating directly to the equitable share. The resolution on the bank overdraft, which indicates an increase from 955 million to 1.35 billion. Unfortunately, this overdraft will still remain high as we have not been funded for the wage agreement, and that resulted in a shortfall in the department by 2.3 billion. Only 95 million has been received, which relates to the National Schools Nutrition Program, the NSNP, and that has been received in the adjustment estimates. We have attached a letter just indicating, as an example of letters that we've been writing to National Treasury, Provincial Treasury, DBE, and other oversight structures requesting for assistance in terms of funding. Resolution 162 2004, it's relating to irregular expenditure that was incurred in the financial year under audits, which is 23-24. And then the Auditor General was not able to determine the extent of the irregular expenditure. So what we have done in response to this, the department has approached Treasury to actually analyze and assist in the condonation of irregular expenditure, including identifying the irregular expenditure and doing the determination test, assisting with investigation. So Treasury has afforded us 3 resources, which senior resources, 1 deputy director and an assistant directors who have already started in the department for a period of 4 months. They will be going through 40,000 payment vouchers that needed to be processed from 2022 to 2025 financial year. We have also appointed interns specifically to deal with the irregular expenditure issue, and those interns have been trained. They've started working on the project. We are further looking at procuring an electronic tool, a voucher management tool, which is going to make sure that our registers are up to date. We identify the irregular expenditure timelessly, and also an LCM electronic tool that will ensure the compliance with LCM. This tool will assist us in avoiding or preventing the occurrence of irregular expenditure. Still on irregular expenditure, the entire balance of 6.3 billion has not been investigated due to lack of capacity, and the department had analyzed the bus payment registers for 22-23 and 23-24 financial year. We have, in terms of the progress that's made, we have submitted requests for condemnations to Provincial Treasury to the value of 1.9 billion. And we are engaging with Treasury in submitting all the required information. We are continuing with the analysis of irregular expenditure, and a further 100 million of irregular expenditure is being processed. This covers the period, the current period of audits, which was 23-24, and the prior year, 22-23. Further to on irregular expenditure, the analysis that has been identified, we are confirming that the department has confirmed this analysis, commenced with this analysis of irregular expenditure for the years under question, and we expected the exercise to be completed at the end of March. A team to conduct a review consisting of departmental officials, Provincial Treasury to make input, and the timeframes. The resources from Treasury have already commenced. They started the project in February 2025. They will be with the department for 4 months. The exercise is expected to be concluded at the end of July, with the submissions for the request of condonation made to Treasury. Provincial Treasury has made inputs regarding the 2 major tenders of irregular expenditure, and that they have not found that the tenders were irregular. Resolution 163, which is talking to payments not made within 30 days, that the department has failed to actually pay suppliers as per requirement. We are confirming that the department has indeed not been able to honor the payments, especially when it deals with equitable share. Conditional grants, if they are captured on time, are expected, are paid within that time frame. And we are reporting that the number of payments for the month of December that was not paid in 30 days were 266 to the value of 47 million. 157,615, and the total number of invoices that are behind the 30-day payment were 15,593, amounting to 1,450,300,084. Resolution 164, which is talking to the material uncertainty relating to the going concern. This is talking again to the bank overdraft. They were sitting at 1.35 billion. The department's response is that the situation has not changed, and it continues to have pressure on our bank balance due to the non-funding of the wage agreement and the budget cuts. So ongoing requests are being made to all oversight structures for funding. And the department, unfortunately, is unable to redirect some of significant funding, as most of the funding goes to salaries, compensation of employees. In respect of reprioritization, we are indicating that currently salaries, the compensation of employees are taking up 93% of the total budget, and it is difficult to reprioritize from goods and services. We are implementing cost-cutting measures. We are focusing also on matters that relate particularly to teaching and learning, and we are continuing to engage for the shortfall and hoping for better results. In respect of the department continuing to make requests and departments and projects being identified that will have a high impact in terms of saving, we have identified the energy solution project, which we're going to be putting solar systems, solar panels on schools and offices. That project has been advertised, and SAM is in the process of finalizing it. Employee verification, which is the payroll verification, we have requested CETA, as it is a requirement that CETA must be involved. So we have requested CETA to advertise and award this tender, which we have experienced delays for over a year, and we have requested CETA to allow the HOD to actually do it in-house. We're also looking at the document management system, which will also assist us with managing the vouchers and looking at saving with the storage cost. Resolution 165, it's talking to material misstatement that are reported in the performance information relating to Program 2, Program 5, and Program 6. The department is indicating that we have reviewed performance indicators to make sure that they are smart. We have trained the districts on the performance during the district strategic planning session, and we've established a quality assurance team, and the process verifications for quarter 1 and 2 have been completed. We're currently doing a quarter 3. Resolution 166. Also, the key performance targets that have not been achieved. The response from the department is that we have revised all performance indicators, and we have additionally involved the performance indicator manager and finance to make sure that the budget is aligned to the key performance targets, so that we make sure that we are able to achieve with the budget that is available. Verification for quarter 1 and 2 is being monitored, and the department is currently monitoring quarter 3. Debt management strategy, resolution 167. Resolution was to conduct monthly monitoring of debts in terms of type. That has been done, and the department, we have actually visited 6 districts to make sure that we all have the same understanding of where the cost that the debt drivers are, what really are the root causes, and we are seeing the positive results of that due to the already decreasing debt that has been identified. So on a monthly basis, we continue to monitor delayed service terminations, and these are also, the reports are also discussed at PESAL forums. The debt management strategy to enforce 100% the recovery. We are making all attempts to fully recover, especially on the in-service debt. Employees are required to sign acknowledgement of debt forms, and recoveries are being done. With regard to out-of-service debt, we are following up with the government employees pension fund to make sure that before the exits, the acknowledgement of debts is done, and also we are withholding the debt from pro rata leave and pro rata bonus. Resolution 168, which is talking to fruitless and wasteful expenditure. The department incurred fruitless and wasteful expenditure of 7.4 million. The department is working on internally condoning this fruitless and wasteful expenditure because it resulted predominantly from the area domestic accounts for Section 21 schools, and we are communicating with the municipality requesting for the write-off of interest, which will reduce this amount, and some municipalities are responding positively, but we remain with a huge debt towards the Section 21 school domestic account. Resolution 169, it's a cumulative balance of fruit and wasteful expenditure. Again, this is due to the domestic accounts, from Section 21 schools, and the process of requesting condonation is underway. And unfortunately, because of the lack of staff, the process is proving to be very slow. In terms of disciplinary action taken against those officials, the bulk of this is as a result of non-payment by schools, as a result of non-provision of the transfers on time. So no officials were yet to be held responsible for that fruitless and wasteful expenditure. Resolution 170 with failure to pay suppliers within 30 days. We have covered this in the previous slide, indicating that the funding of the wage agreement, the budget cuts, is actually putting extreme pressure on the budget and the cash flow of the department to meet the 30-day payment. In terms of outcomes of measures implemented to avoid late payment, the department is looking at an invoice tracker tool, which will ensure that all invoices are processed timelessly. That will strengthen the controls over invoice management, consequence management. No investigation have been initiated due to the fact that most of payment delays are a result of the shortages of funds. And outcomes with the engagement of National Treasury. The engagements are ongoing and only NSNP funding has been provided to date. The resolution 171 relating to material irregularity of the NSNP procurement. The procurement process in respect, the resolution was the appointment of an investigation team to investigate the finding. The procurement process in respect of the investigating team has been completed, and we're looking at reprioritizing budgets to fund the investigation. The delay in the appointment is due to the non-funding and the shortage, basically, of the funds within the department. And we are looking at reprioritizing some of the fundings in the new financial year. So the first week of April, the investigation will commence, as the procurement process has already been completed. On the issue of the value for money, the department did receive value for money in terms of the contract and the amount payable. There was a process that was done with provincial treasury, and the amounts that were eventually paid were amounts that were agreed upon between the department and the provincial treasury, and the amounts that were paid were neither irregular, fruitless, nor wasteful. Resolution 172 regarding the internal control investigations. We are reporting the progress that the number of cases that have been referred were 62 pending disciplinary cases, 7 reported criminal cases and investigation. There's 9 court pending cases. We've got 6 pending, and we have 9 convicted. Pending recoveries cases, it's 16, and cases that have been finalized, it's 2. Thank you, Chairperson. This is our submission. Thank you, HOD.
Thank you, Scopa. HOD, is there anything you'd like to add?
No, Chair, that would be our submission, and we'll await engagements with the committee. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and thank you for coming in on time. I appreciate that. Very, very much on time. But now we will have an opportunity. We still have some time to have proper engagement. So, members, as per the norm, I will now turn to you. Just a quick note to all the members. As per resolution taken, which I think was agreed to, we reserve questions first for Scopa members, so that Scopa can get their business done, and then I will. And obviously, sorry, let me go one step back. We certainly welcome the presence of all the portfolio committee members. Thank you for your interest in today's hearing. But we have taken a resolution as a Scopa committee that first we take questions from the Scopa members and we get through their business. Members, I'll remind you that you may ask questions in a back and forth fashion to get to the answers you're looking for, and then we'll move on to the next member, and then when we've done that, then I'll move to the members of the Portfolio Committee. So, right, with that in mind, can I have hands from the Portfolio Committee? Okay, Honourable Naya, just in a split second, got in first on that one. So we'll take Honourable Naya, Honourable de Klerk, anybody else at this point? Is there happiness? Makes the remaining. Okay, well, let's start off with Honourable Naya, Honourable de Klerk, and then whatever you don't cover, I'll have some questions. Scopa members, if you'd like to ask questions, the remainder, you're welcome to put your hands up before we finish the Scopa round. Thank you very much. Honourable Naya.
Thank you, Chairperson. And good morning to everyone. I'm going to ask questions in groups under each resolution, and then I'll give you an opportunity to answer and then thereafter ask the next batch of questions. So relating to the first resolution, just want to find out, the department continues to have a bank overdraft of 1.35 billion. Now, given the non-funding of the wage agreement, what additional measures beyond the cost-cutting measures that you've put together have you put in place to deal with this financial situation, to stabilize this financial situation? Second question, you've put together a cost-cutting strategy resulting in 150 million rand in savings. Can you provide a breakdown of where these savings were actually achieved and how they compare to the total shortfall? And also, has the department engaged with national and provincial treasuries regarding any additional funding for the department? I'll give you an opportunity to answer now.
Thank you, Honourable Naya. Whoever would like to answer, please do so.
Okay. The first question as well as the last question, I will respond to it, and the question on savings will be responded to by the acting CFO.
Sure. Thank you.
Yes. The first question. Let's thank the honourable member for the question. Starting by saying, given the non-funding of the wage agreement, what other measures are we taking place? Are we doing? The department has, and we've actually included a letter. We have written to provincial treasury, to national treasury, and to DBE, and our issue of financial challenges has been discussed in many forums. So it is actually well known now. But so far we haven't received any help. But internally, what extra measures on this are strict controls on our compensation budget, particularly in the area of substitute educators, where we do not automatically provide substitutes for promotion post holders, particularly those who don't actually teach, who are in management and don't have a teaching load. So when they are sick or are not able to come, to work for whatever reason, we don't provide substitute for those automatically. And that is where we're realizing extra savings. But we must say that those savings are never enough given the huge amount of the shortfall. Thank you.
Thank you, honourable members. In terms of the breakdown of the 150 million and the cost-cutting measures that we've implemented, we have implemented a limit on travelling the kilometers that we can travel. It's not more than 1,715. We have reduced training budgets and have actually moved more to online meetings than physical meeting. We've also moved from having events at private venues, and we are using in-house venues and public venues. We are also negotiating. We've also negotiated with CETA to actually reduce the amounts that we are transferring to CETA on an annual basis. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Honourable Nai, you said you had some follow-ups.
Yeah, just one question you didn't cover. Beyond cost cutting, what other measures are you putting in place to stabilize the financial position of the department, given that you have a 1.3 billion rand overdraft?
Thank you. From an infrastructure perspective, we have stopped all new projects in terms that have not started, so that we would not have, we can have that saving redirected. But also we are starting those projects that we think are going to be high impact. We've indicated the payment verification, which we think is going to clean up the payroll verification, which is going to clean up our PESEL system. We are going to be looking at energy saving projects and putting in metering, water and electricity metering. We are looking at the voucher controlled systems, because we believe that a lot of wastage can actually be saved in terms of those, and those will be a high impact project. Thank you.
Thank you for that. It would have been nice if we had a breakdown of what your projections would be for each one of them, because it's a key thing that you can focus on in order to stabilize your financial position. I'm moving on to Resolution 162, dealing with wasteful expenditure, irregular and also unauthorized expenditure. So your irregular expenditure balance of 6.3 billion has not been fully investigated due to a lack of capacity. What is the status of the electronic voucher system that was supposed to have helped verify these irregular transactions? And I see here that only 1.77 billion of irregular expenditure has been condoned by Treasury. What is the status of the remaining 1.98 billion in condonation requests? Just brief us on that. And what steps have been taken to prevent the recurrence of irregular expenditure, especially concerning supply chain management processes? And can the department confirm whether any criminal charges or disciplinary actions have been taken against officials responsible for irregular expenditure? You may answer.
Thank you, Honourable Member. The status of the voucher system, we were unfortunate. The status is actually sitting at SCM now. It's at procurement stage. We are unfortunate that we have gone out on a procurement on a request for quotations, and only one service provider has responded 3 times. So now we are at the point where we are going to request the HOD for a deviation to actually appoint the service provider who is responding, and continue with the appointment of that service provider. We are going to advertise it one last time and then proceed with the appointment. So it is something that can be concluded within a period of a month. Now, maybe clarity in terms of the 1.9 billion. It is not yet condoned. It's still sitting with Treasury. It's a request that we have made. So they are processing this whole batch. We'll know once they are done how much of that 1.9 has been condoned. What we are saying is that we have completed all the processes required for the condonment. We're at the stage where, as a department, we have submitted, and we're waiting for Treasury to advise how much of that is condoned. In terms of the steps that are taken to prevent the recurrence, we think the system, the tool that we're going to get from SCM, which will actually make sure that we are compliant, it ticks all the boxes. It will actually prevent the irregular expenditure from being incurred. And secondly, the process of e-submission. We want to put a tracking system there where the voucher control system is going to be assisting as well to have internal audit at a particular point in time, review the voucher before it goes for approval and payment. Thank you. This one.
You didn't answer the last question. Can you confirm whether any criminal charges or disciplinary actions have been taken against officials responsible for irregular expenditure?
Chair, we can confirm that in where irregular expenditure was investigated, and in the report from the investigation, there were officials who were found to be responsible. That we have done so. We have taken disciplinary action, but the bulk of it now, like the CFO was reporting, has not yet reached that stage of having reports, investigation reports. But once we have the investigation reports of the current one that we're talking about, we will take action if there are officials who are said to have caused the irregular expenditure.
Has there been any criminal charges as yet?
And no criminal charges on irregular expenditure, no criminal charges yet.
Thank you. Let's move on to the next resolution. The department has reduced its creditor payment period from 22 to 11 days, yet you're unable to pay suppliers within 30 days. Can you just brief us a little bit on why this is so? And then also, the department mentioned that payments are delayed due to budget and cash shortfalls. What is your long-term solution to prevent these cash flow challenges? You may answer.
Thank you. Maybe the first one would be to correct the 22 days and the 11 days, because it has not improved. Because this states that it has improved. If we are paying within 22 days and now we are paying within 11 days, it means it has improved. I think we had a discussion with the Auditor General on what this actually means, and they were to rectify it. But maybe the long-term solution, it unfortunately we think it's not going to be a quick one. Because we are talking in the billions. So it's making sure that we are making our systems more efficient and more effective, and we are actually implementing all these cost cutting and cost saving and implementing these projects that we want, because we believe that once we correct the issue of savings, then there's going to be more money in the bag to actually make the payment.
Do you really believe that what you're putting in place is going to bring an improvement to your cash flow situation? And to what extent? Is it going to improve it by like 50%, 20%? What do you anticipate? And while you're thinking about that, you mentioned that the 22 and 11 days, is that an error? Is that not the correct reflection? Because it didn't really answer my question.
Maybe to make an example of the domestic accounts, which we think is going to be very impactful. We don't believe that the municipality is charging us correctly. We have engaged the municipality on properties, schools, which we believe were not being built correctly, and we've actually won a number of cases against them. There's one school in particular in Moy River where the municipality was demanding 400,000 as a bill, but when the conversation took place, we ended up paying 6,000. So we believe that one is actually going to have a huge impact, because eThekwini on a yearly basis, we're looking at close to 200 million of bills, and sometimes they're billing in places where there's no water or electricity is being provided. So the one on the energy saving or the water savings, we think that one is going to bring in the hundreds of millions because of the incorrect billing that is being done. The payroll verification system, we believe that once we clean up the system of all the allowances, maybe that are paid inaccurately, because sometimes you find that what the AG reported was that employees who were employed in boarding establishment and later moved to a school that does not have a boarding facility, actually are still receiving the boarding allowance. So those are the things that we're looking at cleaning up in the system, and we believe that it's going to actually bring also a significant amount, and that amount is going to be continuous then, because it means it will reduce the payroll amount that we have.
Okay, no, thank you for that. Perhaps you can send the committee a list of those municipalities that you have issues with, but just comment on that 22 days and the 11 days and how you are unable to pay your suppliers within 30, and I'll move on to the next one.
We are confirming that we are not paying within 30 days. Now, if the Auditor General says we have improved, we have decreased, we have moved from paying within 22 days to 11 days, it means that we are complying. But they did explain to us what the error that they've made, the calculations that they made, because it is known a fact that we are not paying most of our suppliers.
No, that's fine.
Days.
What would you say is your correct credit repayment date?
Can I add, Chair, with your permission? I think the issue about the measures to improve our cash flow situation, the main reason we're here as a department is because of the non-funding of the wage bill. That's our main problem. And the major cost driver for the department is COE. Now, we're in this situation mainly because of that. And therefore, to improve the situation, it requires cash injection into the system. That's one. Because without that, it would be very difficult. As I'm saying, about 90% of our budget goes towards COE. The HOD and the CFO has explained what we're doing internally, that we're looking at areas that could be quick wins. For example, to say where it is appointment of substitutes in the areas where we can cut without causing a harm to the system, we are going to do so.
No,
so that is our main situation.
You've adequately covered that aspect. Just the question of what would you say is your credit repayment rate? How many days?
We have not calculated it in days, but we can give a percentage that currently we're at 17% of paying within 30 days. But we can give the figure of in terms of days as well.
That's something important that we should know, especially if you were aware that that was incorrect. It should not have been in the report. Should have given us the correct figures.
Sorry, Honourable Naya, just a point of clarity. So we're saying that that's reduced from 22 to 11 days, but then the sentence below says, but we're still over 30 days, because that was also a query of mine. So that was incorrect reflecting that. Am I right? Okay, no, fantastic. I just wanted to make sure. So it was an error. Thank you.
Can I come in there?
Yes, of course. Yes, you may.
Okay, thank you, Chair.
Because I was also confused by that wording.
No, the reality is because of the cash flow issues, we struggle to make the 30-day payment. We make sure that payments, when invoices are received, they are timelessly captured in the system, which normally happens between 10 to 20 days. But we can't release payments because of cash flow. So you find that there's a lot of payments that are sitting in the system, not released, having been captured and ready to release in less than 30 days. But for cash flow reasons, we have to hold them back while we're waiting for Treasury to give us money. So the 30 days is a struggle due mainly to cash flow, not to inefficiencies internally of us not capturing invoices on time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry, Honourable Naya, can I just... So where your report says we've reduced it from 22 to 11 days, you're saying that within 11 days you are capturing it on the system, but the actual payment is the problem.
Yes, the actual release from the system is the problem.
Right, and then your stated figures there is that you're paying 17% of people within the 30 days.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I also want the clarity, Honourable Naya.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. That makes sense now. So administratively, it's reflecting as 22 and 11, but the actual fact is you are nowhere near there, and that is a problem. So I'm moving on to school infrastructure. The department reported that infrastructure achievements, schools receiving water, electricity, sanitation, but they were not verifiable by the AG. What measures have you put in place to ensure accurate performance reporting? Now, I've seen that your infrastructure director is now responsible for this, for verifying completed projects. But what is the verification mechanism that you are using to ensure that this is accurate and you don't have the same problem again with the AG?
Okay,
because it's important.
Yes.
If you're reporting on these things, we need to ensure that they actually have taken place and that they have the standard that is acceptable.
Okay, thank you, Honourable Chairperson and Honourable Member. As a department, we've first of all, as we've indicated, we've elevated the matter to the director to say she must be responsible for performance management reporting and monitoring. But over and above that, we've allocated each and every SOI to a program manager, and we've put in place the checklist, the verification certificates, and verification teams that go to site as soon as we received an asset has been completed from the implementing agent. It comes to us, and then we go to site physically to verify, to say, one, is it really complete? Two, is it according to the specification? Can we declare it as complete? Are we happy as a department to say it meets all the norms and standards? Then over and above that, we meet with the implementing agents, we meet with the verifiers, and then only then we can declare it as complete. That is the improvement and the strategy that we've put in place after the issues, gaps that were raised by AG last financial year, because what happened is we received assets as being completed, and then they were put under raw data without us having verified first, hence that issue that AG raised. But to correct that, we are not declaring anything up until the entire team has verified, and then we confirm if there anything that needs to be corrected, we send it back to the agent for correction.
Looking at my next question, are you saying that this wasn't happening before the AG discovered this?
No, it was happening, Honourable Chairperson, but Yes, it was happening, but what needed to do, because we introduce other gates, because remember, in terms of the IDMS, there is a new FITPIM system. They say you must introduce other gates. So we introduced other gates, which meant that we needed to add more capacity and improve our processes to ensure that we improve and enhance what was already happening. Okay. It was happening, but we are improving it because we realized that in as much as it was happening, there are some gaps that we needed to.
All right, no, that's fine that you've fine-tuned your mechanisms, and we'll keep a close eye on that. So let's talk about the National School Nutritional Program. Has the independent investigation into this been completed? If so, what were the key findings? And you've said as a department that you've received value for money for this program. What specific indicators or evidence do you have that you've received, that you've used to assess that you've received value for money? And then finally, under this, were there any penalties imposed on the service providers responsible for the delayed meal deliveries? Over to you.
Through you, Chair, our response on that indicates that the actual investigation, it indicates that the procurement of the investigator is complete, but it says the actual investigation will start in the first week of April. Again, because we have had problems, financial problems relating to when are we going to actually start the investigation, so that it ties up with the time when we think we will be able to afford the investigation.
Sorry, team. I can't hear you very clearly.
So we are saying the investigation will start in the first week of April. So there are no findings yet. That's in our response. Then, in terms of the value for money question, for what we've already paid to that contract which was cancelled, there was a verification process which was done by Provincial Treasury, where the vouchers and as I mean, compared the invoices compared to what was actually delivered was verified and independently by Provincial Treasury, and we only paid once Provincial Treasury had cleared payments, for those vouchers after independently verifying, whether food was delivered, whether it was of the right quality, quantity, and so on.
All right. So you're saying that this investigation was delayed because of funding. There's been no funding to pay for this investigation.
Yes, that's what we've said. Yes.
All right. And has there been any penalties on service providers who delayed in meal deliveries?
Meal deliveries.
Any penalties? Were there any penalties imposed on the service providers responsible for delayed meal deliveries?
Yeah, we those that default, we end up cancelling their contracts and awarding to others. So we have a system of tracking defaulters in relation to actual supply.
So you have a list of defaulters that you've.
Yes, we have a list of suppliers that we've terminated because of that kind of
excellent
behavior.
Thank you so much. I'm coming to my last question, Chair. So let's talk about debt management and staff overpayments. The department continues to struggle with recovering 625 million rand in outstanding staff debts, with 450 million rand already prescribed. That's quite serious. What urgent measures are being taken to recover the remaining amount? Seeing as though you have cash flow issues, what measures have you put in place?
Our response, as just given by the CFO, was that the main problem now are workers who are still within the system. Now, what are we doing? We recover from their salaries. The prescribed one are the old ones, debts that were incurred even prior to the amalgamation of departments. So they are well over 3 years and they've prescribed, and we can't basically recover them. In fact, we should be writing them off. And you can see that they form a bigger percentage of debts in our books. So it's basically writing them off. Yes. Yeah, we are recovering the balance from the salaries of employees. Exactly. Yes. What percentage of what they are owing? The recovery of debt from somebody's salary, of course, is governed by other laws. For instance, your basic conditions of employment. Your basic conditions of employment, which determines how much you can, what percentage of somebody's salary you can actually deduct. So it depends from individual to individual. No, it's not loans that are being referred to here. It's called staff debt, but it's not through loans. But it's a situation where, for example, let's say somebody was on sick leave, and the sick leave was investigated by the health risk manager, and the person had already taken 2 months, and the health risk manager says, no, what was due, reasonable leave that should have been given here is 1 month. Then they now have a debt of that 30 days. That's how it accumulates. It could be also another example would be somebody who was overpaid for one reason or other, and the money has to be recovered, of salary overpayments. So it's those issues. So it's not loans. Yes, our response indicated that exactly.
Thank you, Honourable Now. Honourable the Clerk.
Thank you, Chair. I'm being told I've got 45 minutes to my left. I will adhere to that. I'm not going to go into the detail because I think my colleague, Honourable Nair, has dealt with most of it. But I'm very worried. And what I'm going to ask and state is not to criticise the department. It's to try and help the department. So please understand that. My first question is, well, before we start there, just looking at the presence of everybody here today, it's clear that education is very important. That's not something I think anybody will disagree with. If I'm correct, the total budget of education is around about 150 billion. Is that correct? How much is it? How much? 62. Okay. Out of that 62 billion, as was indicated and in your responses, 93% of that goes to salaries. So only 7% can go to anything else, building schools, programs, and so on.
Yes, and that's the source of our problem, really.
And as was said, the main reason is that there is unfunded mandates on salary increases. And that has also caused the department to go into an overdraft of 1.3 billion, which is an extraordinary large amount. So listening to your answers regarding what systems you've put into place, I'm worried because I don't see an urgency by the department. It is clear from your responses and your responses today that the Department of Education in KZN is in utter dire straits. We've just heard in the past day or two, another 5% or something has been given to civil servants. We've heard that the VAT, 2% VAT that would have been used for that, with all probability, is not going to happen. So it's just going to add to the problem. We're now at a point where there's no new projects. I don't want to be rude, HOD, but I'm sure you will agree with me. We're at the point where there will only be money for salaries. Nothing else. Actually, it's already like that. It is a death spiral. It cannot continue. You have to fund your department with a 1.3 billion rand overdraft. And you use that for salaries, not for building schools or feeding children or anything like that. I do not see in any of your responses a real urgency of dealing with issues like fruitless expenditure, irregular expenditure, material irregularities. Actually, if you look at it, like the last resolution 172, there's just no particularity in your responses. Explaining to us, look, we understand the difficulty we've got. We're staring down the barrel. We will be in a worse position if this budget debate speech is given. Please assist the committee and tell us, how are you going to deal with this? Or are you like a person that sees the accident is coming and you're just closing your eyes and slamming into the car in front of you? Because I do not see here any answer on how you're going to deal with this reality. And it's not your fault. You get your money mainly from national. But unfortunately, it's an unsustainable budget. You can't have 93 only for salaries. You can't have 5% increases on a regular basis for teachers, because what it brings us to is a total collapse. Please tell me I'm wrong.
I think we can say what Honorable de Klerk is saying is what we have been saying, even here today, and that's what we have been saying to Treasury. So it's a problem that we have put on the table. It's not a problem that we have not indicated that this is the problem that we're having. The 3% versus 7%, it's us who have said this is the situation. Most of our budget goes to salaries. And it is for that reason that we're saying what will assist is a cash injection to the department. It's funding to the department. The other things that we're doing, improving efficiency and so on, will ease life a bit, but they are nowhere near going to fulfill the financial challenges that we're facing. And we've said they can be resolved only through a significant cash injection to the department.
Yes, just on that issue, we know that cash injection won't come. We know it. Unfortunately, it's not going to come. And the problem that I have is I do not see, and this is now pointing fingers at the department, the ways of saving money. It's lukewarm. It's not real. It will fall short by billions. It's just not enough. If you know you've got cancer, you do something about it. And I don't see that. Give me one program or saving which will tell us that you're taking this seriously, you're cutting to the bone, you're really saving. It seems to me that you've accepted this reality and you're just going forward and you're just marching forward. As I said, you'll fall off the cliff, and I'm worried about that. So please assist the committee in saying, no, Mr. de Klerk, you're wrong. And that's where the particularity is important. Here is the monies we're saving. 1 billion for that, 1 million for this. We don't know that. So to me, hiding those facts, I infer that it's very bad what you're really saving. And actually the medicine that you are applying will never work. And who will suffer? The children. Not the teachers, they get their salaries. The children is suffering because of this. So please show me in your responses where you're really tackling the reality of your fiscal challenge.
I think let's make this thing practical so that we'll understand it. We are having 62 billion. I think you must work with me so that we'll understand the mathematics part of it. 62 billion for a budget. In that 62 billion, you have 56 billion for salaries. Then you need to then calculate, you have plus or minus 6 point something billion left. You have 2.3 billion for conditional grant for infrastructure. That means the point that they're saying, well, we're not going to build school is not true. Because there is a conditional grant that you can't touch it under that 62 billion. That means we're still going to save schools in terms of infrastructure. It's either you build or you maintain or you upgrade. Then that is what. And then you subtract from that 6 point something billion. Then you have 2.3 billion, 3.2 something, which is when you round off is 2.3 billion for nutrition program. That means you end up left with 2 point something billion. That 2.3 or 3.4 billion is for goods and services. What does goods and services mean? You need to deliver material in books in schools. You need to deal with the issues of S&T, all operation, the ECD. Now, we're present to say we are underfunded. The medicine that we are referring to, the only option that can assist is to retrench. Now, we can't be a government that retrench while we are a government that we are saying we must create job opportunities. That's why we'll say, if you have read in details, you will see that the reason why we can't pay, you can't even pay norms and standard, is because norms and standard fall under that 2 billion, under goods and services. Those norms and standard is determined by a learner, and we are not given a correct rate per learner. Instead of 1,200, we are paid roughly plus or minus 900, which then make it difficult. Remember, in schools, there are unrecorded, is it the correct word? Undocumented learners, those learners that don't have a certificate or ID, and you can't say them, you can't chase them away. But we still need to feed them. We still need to provide them with materials of schools, and they still need to provide furniture for them. And they are not allocated in terms of our budget. So this thing is not easy as you say, Honorable. It's very complex. That's why I'm saying, if you take it literally, when you talk to someone, you can say, "Oh, Department of Education have budget, have 62 billion. It's the only department that have huge budget." But if you go literally, Department of Education have only 7 billion budget, because the COE is ring-fenced. CFO can manage that. It's just a matter of putting a button, pay. But for managing a proper budget, and if it's worth, if you will take even a conditional grant aside, conditional grant are 4.6 or 4.7, because there are these minor grants of HIV and what, which are 20-something million and so on and so forth. So you end up as I normally say to CFO, you don't need an accountant to as a CFO Director of Education. You can take anyone who just understand basic accounting. It's like when you appoint a CFO for art and culture, or OTP, Officer of the Premier. Because why? It's because of the amount. When you advertise a post for ESCOM, for CFO, they will say they need someone who have managed certain billions. It's there. But they don't understand the content of it. When we are in the municipality, if you're looking for a CFO, there's difference between a municipality that have a budget of more than 1 billion or less than billion. The requirements are not the same. It's because of what? Because of the budget. But when you go in details, you will find that there are challenges. Thank you very much. I'm sorry, Chair, to come.
Thank you, Messi. Maybe, thank you for that. My problem, I understand that, and it is clear. The problem is it's not sustainable. It's not sustainable. And what I'm trying to say is, let's say this 5% increase that has been agreed to becomes an unfunded mandate. The chance is good. That 93 will rise. It will rise. Then your 7 billion will be even less. My issue is simple. I'm worried on the sustainability of our department. And all I'm saying is, I do not see urgency from the department in which they show to us that they understand this reality. And it might not be your fault. Do you understand that, HOD?
No, I think we are in agreement that we have a serious financial challenges, but we have unpacked them, and I think everybody now understands, especially the MEC's explanation. I'm sure says it all. Even the 5% we are talking about is 5% that would go to increase the pressure on our compensation budget. But you see, the things that we're saying we're doing on the 7% budget, because the compensation budget has a problem. The compensation budget can't be touched. It's ring-fenced. So essentially, that is the reason why I'm saying we may do all these things. We are doing all these things because we have to show that on the efficiency side, we see the agents of doing those things. But the real problem is the compensation budget, which might increase by 5% without an additional funding. That is beyond our control, except to indicate to National Treasury, to Provincial Treasury, that this is what is going to lead to in terms of increasing pressures to us. The problem with compensation budget in a department such as ours is that we are labor intensive. We depend on employing teachers. And even if we're to employ the best technology, it wouldn't replace teachers. It wouldn't replace physical warm bodies. And therefore, the question of retrenching will actually affect children, as you were saying, even more. We can't retrench teachers. In fact, we need more teachers because the number of learners is growing. The curriculum is, we are improving the curriculum and introducing subjects that need fewer learners, a teacher. So those are the pressures that we're facing, but we can't, help ourselves in relation to the compensation side, because the solution would be to retrench, and that solution is not available and is not a viable solution to us as education.
Thank you so much, HOD. Chair, I'm still despondent. We're going to crash. And we have to consider how we're going to deal with it. But it's not the department's fault. Mainly, it's a funding problem. But it just doesn't suffice. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honourable Clerk. Yes, definitely a difficult situation indeed, which you'll have to raise in finance, I would imagine. Honourable Biela.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, no, my hand was up first, Tex.
Chair, on a point of order. Sorry, I do not know. Sorry, Honourable Biela, to interrupt you. Sorry to interrupt you. Honourable Biela is a member of Scopa too. Okay,
yes.
Fine, it's fine.
Yes, Honourable Biela has been a member of Scopa.
What's your problem, Honourable Tex? No,
okay,
it's fine. No.
Can we not be sidetracked, please? And Honourable Biela, you have the floor. Thank you.
Oh, thanks. I think the Honourable Tex just wanted to also appear in the minutes. Chair, I think, it's one of those difficult Scopa meetings, to be honest, because ordinarily we would be dealing with, issues of incompetence, issues of corruption, allegations of this and that. But I think there's a reality that we must confront, not only as Scopa members, but as legislators. And it's the very same issue that the department is raising. Because even if you look at the smaller percentage, the 7%, I mean, the bulk of the amount spent on the salaries has a direct effect on some of the issues in the 7%. For example, if you consider the late payments, it's an outcome of the cash flow challenges as a result of the challenges in the COE. And I think we must remind ourselves as legislators as well that we have this dual responsibility, not only of holding the colleagues, to account, but also to provide support. It's part of our responsibility. And I would implore upon the committee to register that we also need to intervene. In the programs that we were all participating in earlier January, the monitoring of schools, I think we all saw the challenges that the schools are facing. And it's well and good to note these challenges and to speak about these things. But if we as a legislature really do not talk about the solutions, then we are equally at fault. And I just wanted to register that, Chair. I think the colleagues have asked the difficult questions. But if you look at the bulk of that budget, really the issues we are talking about are not so significant in relation to the bigger problem that the department is facing. And not that we shouldn't ask the questions around the 7% issues, but I think ultimately, maybe in our own private engagement, we do need to discuss the bigger problem that the department is facing. And I just wanted to register that, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Biela. Honourable Dirks.
Thank you, Chairperson. I'll be very brief. Firstly, let me thank the officials for the detailed report that they presented here. Also, want to thank them for making some effort in addressing the AG queries and the other outstanding matters here. I think, Chairperson, it is not correct for us as politicians, as MPLs, to say to the department that this is not sustainable. I don't think we should direct that question to the department, because there's nothing the department can do about it. It's us, the MPLs, the politicians in this legislature, that must try and address this issue when we do the budgets. Now, we have raised this thing as some controversies, and that's why we did not support this budget, because austerity measures, that's what will collapse this department. If we're going to continue with austerity measures on education and health in this province, it's going to collapse education and health. Then we want to point fingers as politicians to the education department and to the health department here in this province when we are implementing austerity measures. And that's why we will never support austerity measures, for that simple reason. It has never worked anywhere in the world. It has not helped anybody, austerity measures. It will collapse the economy. It will collapse countries, will collapse provinces. So we must, when we do budgets, when we do the budget this financial year, we must think of what we've discussed in Scopa, that this is not sustainable, and do something about it. That's what we need to do, because we will not support the budget again when the GPU wants to implement austerity measures. We will not can't support it. It's a principled position. It is not. We don't oppose for the sake of opposing, but we oppose it because we could see this danger that this department and the health department will face. Thank you very much, Chair.
Honorable Dlungwane.
Thank you, Chair. My one is just one issue. Really want to appreciate the lecture that the MEC provided to us. And I think it's assisting us in understanding, because sometimes you look at a bigger budget, you think, but what is the department doing with such a big budget? But if you have not gone into details in dissecting that budget, you really do not understand what you are dealing with. But I think that input, it assists to understand. You know, it's easy when you are sitting on the other side. But when you are sitting on the other side, it's not that easy. And I think with this PG, what do you call it? PGU, GPU, hey, this losing election is difficult, man. You know, hey, you now understand, because you are part and parcel of it. You know, it's easy to be in the opposition benches and sit and throw. But when you are there, because you've got a responsibility, an added responsibility, you realize that this thing we're dealing with is not as easy as when you are sitting on the other side. Thank you so much, Chair.
Thank you very much. Okay, I will now get into my questions before I go to the other committee, and I will be brief. So HOD, CFO, you can just decide who's going to answer this. The first query that just came to my mind was under the recovery of staff debts. And let's just do this to and fro so we can get through it quickly, okay? I see there that 450, in your response, 450 million odd was prescribed. My understanding of prescription with my legal background is that it was not pursued for longer than 3 years. So therefore it prescribed. Can you tell me why that happened? How can it be that I'm sure we have the same understanding of prescription of a debt. If you do not follow up on it with an actual summons for 3 years, in a 3-year period, it prescribes. You cannot collect it anymore. How does it happen that we allowed 450 million to prescribe like that? So in other words, we cannot collect it. Can I get an answer to that?
Chair, I think one of the reasons is that it's the figure that we see there of the total figure that you see there is made of debts that happened a long time ago, even before the amalgamation of the departments. Remember, there was a time when there were 3 different departments in the province and in the country along racial lines. When they amalgamated, staff from these various departments came with debts, and that was at the time of amalgamation. When the single department took over, we tried to recover even the debts that are old. And with old debt, you will realize that in some cases the person would have retired many years ago, and the address of the person would be that of a school where they were. And when they retired, they may have gone elsewhere, maybe to their original home. So part of trying to recover debt from that person would be to trace them where they are. Okay. And that was difficult. In order to try and recover that debt, we even appointed debt collectors who were going to pay on a commission basis. As you collect, we pay you commission based on what you have collected. Even that process could not yield result because the debt collectors were facing the same issues of being unable to find the debtors, or of finding that the debtor had actually even passed away, had died. That's how old these debts are.
No, sure, I understand.
Yes. So ordinarily, this 453 million prescribed debt is supposed to be written off because it's debt that is irrecoverable. So it's supposed to be written off. But there are processes of writing off a debt in government. One of the ways in which you write off a debt would be to do a submission to Treasury for the write-off of a particular debt, but you must show that from your budget you have had some savings and you are going to use that savings to offset the debt that is being owed. Now, with a department like ours, we're not talking about a saving, we're talking about financial challenges. So that's why that process of writing off the debt, it can happen. But the difficulty and what distorts the figures, of course, is that you see every month when we report, that debt would have increased because of interest as well. And the bulk of that interest is on that prescribed debt. So, which means on the current debt, for example, that we can still recover, we are doing recoveries. But you'll find that we recover 7 million this month, but there's 2 million already interest. And part of that interest is on a prescribed debt, which you cannot accrue. So while we are recovering, the debt is growing as well because of interest charged on a prescribed on a prescribed or reported on a prescribed debt. So that's the answer to what. I mean, it's not like we've not tried to recover. No, we have. Yes.
I fully understand. Thank you. That's a very thorough answer. Yeah, I think it's obviously important just to break that down, and then obviously make sure that interest is not rising above the initial capital, because that would be your limit. But perhaps breaking that up in the financials also for the AG might help. And I think it certainly would be a good idea to try and write that off if you can't recover it. Otherwise, it hangs around like this bad stink, and you just can't get rid of it. We spoke about staff debt, and thank you for your explanation about how it arises. Are we engaged in, so for instance, you gave us an example of somebody who's gone on sick leave and then we found that they should not have been on sick leave so long. So effectively they've been dishonest with the department. Are we implementing disciplinary action when that happens? So in other words, when a dishonest action leads to a debt, other than just the debt, are we sanctioning them and saying, hey, you were dishonest with us, and some sort of a warning or any sort of disciplinary action when dishonesty leads to a debt?
Yeah, it would be difficult to characterize it as dishonesty, because somebody is sick and is given actual sick leave by their treating doctor, but the health risk specialists, who are now specialists, analyze the leave given, the treatment given. It's a technical matter. It's a medical issue, that one.
Okay.
And the health risk managers, doctors arrive at a different conclusion, you see. So it's difficult to actually blame the person who was sick. The only thing that you can do is then recover the money, and that's what we do. We recover it from their salaries.
All right. Okay. Sorry, I misunderstood your example. All right. Let me just try out what other issues I had. Under resolution, let me just get the resolution. Under resolution 162, there was a request that the irregular expenditure be fully investigated. And your department response, the first bullet point says, department has engaged Provincial Treasury for the appointment of service providers. I'm just trying to get an idea of timeline. We asked you to do this in October last year. We're in February now. When was Provincial Treasury asked to provide service providers to help with the investigation of regular expenditure? I'm just trying to get an idea of where we are in timeline, when we could expect results of these expenditure. Results of these investigations.
The assistance that we required and that we reported would request Provincial Treasury to assist on it is now here. They are here. We reported that they have given us one person at the level of a deputy director and 3 assistant directors.
All right, then.
So they have started the work.
So when do you anticipate we might start getting some sort of feedback? What is a reasonable time for Scopa to ask for you to give us feedback on these investigations? Because we'd obviously like to ask for that, and I just want to make it a reasonable time period. Could we say mid-year maybe?
Okay, it might be difficult to just offhand
sure.
Look at it, because remember the CFO's own report was saying over 40,000 transactions that have to be gone through, and I think we.
Actually, I don't want to pin you down to a date. That would be very unfair.
Yes,
we will correspond with you. That we would like to just have
progress,
regular updates on the investigations.
We will provide updates in terms of how far they've gone.
All right, great. Let me just move on down. Yeah. I just wanted to also congratulate you. Amongst all the doom and gloom, you, under your department response under resolution 164, which was pretty much about how you're going to save money. Well done on the saving of 150 million rand on S&T. And I think it's once again an example to all other departments. It's on page 7 of your presentation. I'm commenting on your input. It's something that if we roll that out across all departments, I know it seems like a drop in a bucket, but it's that small saving that can add up to so much. And I think I just want to commend you on that. So I go through these documents and I make notes and highlights. So I'm just finding them. Under resolution 169, this is now where we get to the fruitless and wasteful expenditure. And the committee, we wanted to know progress in determining fruitless and wasteful expenditure, but also what the actions were. I just wanted to know what you say here in your response on page 16, that the department is in the process of condonation of the expenditure. Due to the detailed procedure and lack of staff, the process is slow. And currently there's no disciplinary action taken against officials for the fruitless and wasteful expenditure. Is the fact that no disciplinary action has been taken because you are still investigating? Is that correct?
Yes, that's what we have indicated.
Similar to the irregular expenditure, can we write to you and ask you for updates on the outcome of these investigations? I understand you say they're slow. Do you have the staff or the service providers to assist with fruitless and wasteful expenditure investigations?
That stuff that I was talking about from Treasury is here exactly for that.
So they're doing irregular and fruitless and wasteful. Okay,
yes.
All right. So we'll receive reports on both. Thank you. Right. Then on page 17, which is now a response to resolution 170. This is very much along the same line, HOD. On page 17, consequence management implemented. This is our resolution. Consequence management implemented against officials responsible for late payments to invoices where this was avoidable. Just disciplinary action in progress by responsibility managers. So that falls into the same batch. So we will receive details of that as we go on.
Yes, well, as and when investigations are being completed, but you can see, for example, in the resolution, where invoices, where the delay could have been avoidable.
Yes.
That would mean if, for example, there's an invoice and we've delayed capturing it, but we have heard that the capturing side is fine. All the transactions that come, the invoices are put on bus. What delays is the actual payment. But if we were to find that there's an invoice which came on time, was processed, and there was money, then we'll take action. But there is none like that for now, and we're unlikely to find anything like that. But if we find it, we will take action.
No, sure. Then my second to last question is on page 20 of 20, so it's right at the end. This is on resolution 172. You give us, we asked what's the, let me just get this right. So you conducted 62 investigations over the period 1 April 2021 to March 2024, and you gave us a breakdown of, can you see it there? 62, 7 disciplinaries. Can you just please give us more of a breakdown of that? I think the committee would find it very useful to have a full table when you break down the 62, the 7 pending disciplinaries, 29, just so we have an understanding of what the circumstances were around that case. And if I can just ask you in future, that's the kind of detail that Scopa needs, is that level of detail as to what happened in the case, what the progress is, that sort of thing. Okay, because we had another department the other day where the National Prosecuting Authority just said we're not prosecuting. Now, we may well try and talk to the NPA and say, can you tell us why? Because, everything looks good for a good case here. And so we are able to assist you possibly in matters. So if we can have a fuller breakdown of that. Then my final question to you, and I'll go right back to the top again, is about this payment of creditors. Just with concern, we always see massive litigation costs that departments rack up. And we've traversed the payment of creditors, and it's 17%, as you said, that we pay within 30 days. HOD, acting CFO, are we keeping a very close check on making sure that we pay creditors in time for them not to take us to court? Do you know what I'm saying? I know it's probably unavoidable in some cases, but in terms of paying creditors, are you trying to manage them to avoid legal action? And I think, so that's the question number one. And number two is, we know you're not paying within 30, you're only paying 17% of creditors within 30 days. Can you do you have any figure about how long it's taking to pay the remaining 83%? Is it 60 days? Is it 55? Is it 43? You know, do we have an average in that regard? So we actually know, look, it's not ideal, but this is what it is. Could you help us with a figure like that? Maybe if you don't have it now, but I think it certainly would be useful for, and it also gives you a benchmark. You know, we're here, you can try and improve, or whatever the case may be.
We can provide that kind of information as to the aging of the transactions that we have. For example, 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, 180 days. We can have that, but of course to avoid, for example, litigation, sometimes may be difficult, but we do our best to engage the service providers, particularly those who depend on the equitable share. But those that are on conditional grants, we're fine with them. We pay those on time. But those that depend on the equitable share, for example, like LTSM, for example, the stationery and so on. It's a very difficult struggle to actually even to try to negotiate. But many of them, including this particular one who does this, have been accepting even payments, part payments of a huge invoice where we pay them less. That's how we try to manage, not being taken to court. But it's becoming more and more difficult and becoming more and more unfair to those service providers that were unable.
We understand your hands are, you have 1 3/4 hands behind your back. We understand that. Okay, those are my questions. Members of the Portfolio Committee, I'll now give you the opportunity. We don't have much more time, but if you have any questions, members of the Portfolio Committee, if you want to add anything. Yes, Honourable Ngadi. Sorry, I don't know who is first. Should we go ladies first? Member, please, go for it.
Thank you very much, Honourable Chairperson, for the opportunity to engage on the report.
Sorry, member, can I just... something I did forget to ask is that please can I ask you to stick to Scopa type questions, because policy, strategic direction that can be raised in the portfolio. So thank you very much.
No, I'll stick to that, Honourable Chair. Thank you. It's just a quick one, Honourable Chair, because in the most I have been covered, especially by the breakdown that the MEC has taken us through. I'm on Resolution 164 on the issue of the projects that have been identified to save costs. And I do believe and agree, Honourable Chair, that one of them is on the employee verification process. I'm a bit concerned, HOD, at the rate in which SETA is responding to the request by the department. And I'm thinking on possible ways because for me, just writing a letter to SETA is not enough for them to undertake that process of employee verification. I think it's a good suggestion that you undertake such a process to identify savings, because you might find that within the system, you do have employees that are not really supposed to be there. And for me, USITA taking a year to respond to such is not enough. And us just writing a letter and waiting upon them to give us a go-ahead to proceed is also not enough. I think more should be done around this so that that project kickstarts, and then you might identify that you will be finding savings around that area. Thank you very much, Honourable Chair.
Thank you very much. I don't know who wants to respond. Well, that's more of a statement, remember? Or... All right, okay. If you'd like to respond to the statement, if you can make it.
I think on the process, we can say that we're looking at taking over the process because of that very reason, doing it ourselves because of that very reason. But of course, we had to write to CETA to say, look, we will then take this thing over because they have delayed. Because we've got to show proof that at least we try to engage the state information, IT agency, and they didn't do what they were supposed to do, and that's why, so that we avoid audit queries in future, for doing the same thing. And that's where we are now.
Thank you, Honourable Ngadi.
Thank you, Honourable Chair. Good morning to yourself, MEC, HOD, technocrats, and honourable members. Chair, mine is to just zone in on Resolution 169 around the cumulative balance of fruitful and wasteful expenditure for the financial years 2023 and 2024. That sits at 207 million. Just to have that at the back of our minds when we look to Resolution 172 that speaks to the department's internal control investigations. Now, in a period of, and here it says 1 April 2021 to 31 March 2024, there were only 62 cases referred, and finalized cases sit at only 2. And so my question really is, in the event of such an abundance of wasteful, fruitful expenditure, and we speak to within the other resolutions of dishonesty within the department that leads to a loss of funds, essentially. Is it accurate that there are only 62 cases that are or have been referred? And why then, if that is the accurate number, have only 2 been finalized? What is the lag between cases arriving, those investigations taking place, and there being some kind of resolution to those cases, so that in the event of us needing to recover monies that have been lost, that process can also be initiated? I just want some clarity over the cases reported, the cases finalized, and how that ties into some of the wasteful expenditure or fruitless and some of the monies that have been lost.
Yes, with regards to fruitless expenditure, up to 207 million, fruitless and wasteful expenditure, I think we have to clarify that the bulk of that fruitless and wasteful expenditure is as a result of our cash flow problems. When we don't pay schools, for example, their transfers because of cash flow issues, they end up unable to pay municipal debt for electricity, for water, and so on. And the municipality will then charge interest. And that's why the CFO was saying we're negotiating now with municipalities to exempt us from, to give us amnesty on the interest part, so that we pay only the principal debt owed. So it would not be easy then to say to a principal, we're charging you for fruitless expenditure because you didn't pay the municipal electricity bill on time, when in fact we as a department didn't transfer money to the school for the principal to do so. And that is the issue, because one problem leads to another and another, and finally it ends up with a situation where there are very few circumstances where on issues such as this you would end up taking consequence management against people, because they will have an easy defense. They will say, but there was no money, you didn't transfer money to my account. That's why this now has generated interest, which is regarded as wasteful and fruitless expenditure. The other cases, the 62 that we're talking about, a variety of cases. It's not just relating, for example, to fruitful and wasteful expenditure. Some are, fraud cases, fake qualifications, and so on. That we have investigated, and where in fact we've opened criminal cases and in some cases have had convictions.
But HOD, I believe you're going to be providing us with full details of that, of each one of those 62 matters. So
yes.
Nice long table, so we can get acquainted with that, and we can obviously share that.
Yes.
There was a question from a AG official in the. Please.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. My question or request is on Resolution 171 of 2024. If I can request the department to update the response, because if you have not done the investigation, then the last statement to say that the expenditure was neither irregular, fruitless, and wasteful expenditure is contradicting the disclosures on the AFS and the material irregularity that has been reported. Thank you.
All right. I'm not entirely sure whether it's appropriate for you to tell them in this forum that, but thank you for raising the point. But I mean, obviously, you are able to direct any queries like that to myself, and I will pass it on to the department. But thank you very much, Red. Yes, sure.
To
respond.
That one is a different issue where we end up with saying the amounts paid were neither irregular, fruitless, or wasteful. That one is where we indicated that Treasury did that investigation of checking vouchers, invoices against food delivered to schools, and they did so before we even paid, and they were satisfied that its goods were delivered, the food was delivered, signed off by principals, and we only paid only those invoices that Treasury had actually okayed for us to actually go ahead and pay. It's not in general for other fruitless expenditure and so on that we're still investigating.
Yeah, I'm sure that the AG will engage with you on that issue going forward and to the later report in the year. Members, colleagues, I'm glad to say that we finished a minute ahead of time. So well done to everybody. Despite our interesting start, we managed to finish on time, and I thank everybody. MEC, are there any closing remarks you'd like to make before we wind up? And then, can I just ask the members of Scopa just to remain relating to this afternoon's activities and some information I have on that. Thank you. Thank you, MEC.
No, thanks again, Chair, and thanks to all honorable members. We are committed to account to Scopa or any legislature committee that have been established to account about the finances of the department. It's just that I'm not sure about the 62 cases in terms of giving details, because you might find that other cases are sub judice. Information that might be in that report might compromise the whole process. That's why if you go through to other column, there are cases that are in court, other pending, other convicted. So I think if the committee can also understand that, but it's a matter that we're going to discuss, because if we give it details per each, that means we must also indicate what is the status to date at that time, which then might also compromise the processes of the case. But we'll get guidance and be guided by those who understand better than us in terms of law, because we might was subjected to that. Having said that, we really want to thank you. We will again come to Scopa whenever we are needed to come to account, because we understand that we have to account and give correct information. And indeed, the senior management, they've did it under oath. Office, whatever that they said is correct. Thank you.
Merci. Okay, with that, the meeting is adjourned. As I say, if the Scopa members can just remain behind quickly. We obviously have public works after this, but I'll just have a quick chat before public works come. I'm just having a quick little conflab with my Scopa. Winning. I need to thrash them. Yeah, no, we'll be ready for you guys. You guys are quarter two, huh? Yeah. We're ready for you. Yeah. I'm peeved, but I'm fine. Oh, sorry, let me see.
Advocate, you sorted my problem. Not sorted.
Hey, let's talk about it, you know. Thank you, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. I, Tito Fihlela, swear to tell the truth, nothing but the truth, so help me God.
I, Pauline Ntanzi, swear to tell the truth, nothing but the truth, so help me God.
I, Tobuyise Mkhunu, swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing else. So help me God.
I, Ubongani Dlamini, swear to tell the truth, nothing but the truth, so help me God.
I, Byron Pillay, hereby solemnly swear that tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God.
I, Tsuba Ngubane, swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God.
Okay, the PLO is not going to testify, so that's fine. All right, HOD, over to you now. Can I please ask you, we've received your report, the 2 documents that you've sent through. We've had the opportunity to go through them, so it's not necessary for you to read the documents in any way, shape, or form. If I could just ask you just to give us the highlights, because I'm going to limit you to 20 minutes. Okay, if you can do it in less than that, I'll be forever in your debt. But 20 minutes is what I've assigned to you. So it's 12 o'clock now. You've got until 12:20. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honourable Chairperson, and greetings to the Honourable members and the MEC and my colleagues that I would myself from Public Works. Thank you, Chair. I think thank you for that guidance as well. On the issue around the interdepartmental accounts with specific reference to the impairment of receivables, Chair, I need to highlight to this committee that Public Works has struggled to collect monies with specific reference from the Department of Education to a point whereby we were sitting at about 902 million that was outstanding to Public Works on a budget of 1.62 billion. So in essence, we were not a going concern and we were basically bankrupt. What we then decided that in order to rescue the situation, we need to escalate the matter to the Honourable Premier via the Honourable MEC, and we did convene such a meeting, and it was at that meeting that we've decided that Treasury will come on board and mediate between the both departments. I'm happy to announce at Scopa that Treasury has done so, and Treasury has gotten the amounts that are outstanding from Public Works, which is 443 million, and Education will be paying those amounts in April. As you look at the diagram that's on page 2 of 11, you would note, honourable members, that Public Works is owed an amount of 443 million from Education, 434 million, which equates to 58%. The amount that was outstanding on the total IDA balance was 648 million as of end of December. That amount as of end of December was 739. That amount as of end of January is now sitting at 648 million, which demonstrates the effect of what the collection mechanisms that we've put in place and how they are working. The one thing that we've realized, Honourable Chair, is that should we continue with an IDA that's escalating exponentially, the department will come to its standstill and we won't be able to operate as a going concern. What we've then decided is that Treasury will issue an instruction note within the financial year of 25-26, whereby all lease payments and infrastructure projects will be ring-fenced. There will also be proper planning at Public Works, whereby any new project will not be undertaken unless you settle old debt and finish up with projects that were started in the years before that. We've also tirelessly so now have begun to make copies of payment vouchers that could fill this entire room, if not a swimming pool, and provide that to departments so that when the Auditor General audits them, they have copies of what we've billed. There were disputes around borehole issues, which we currently have allocated Treasury to do a full forensic investigation, and that tallies to about 66 million. The rest of the funds are not in dispute. We've managed to find each another, us and education. The issue is now for that monies to be paid over. With that, Chair, we then move on to the next item, which was the whole issue around expenditure management. I want to say, Chair, that is an issue that will be recurring for this financial year, based on the fact that we are not unable to capture, we are unable to pay creditors that we owe within the 30-day period as prescribed by the PFMA. The reason for same, Chair, is very much got to do with cash flow. If Public Works were able to recover those monies from education, we won't be where they are. The whole purpose of legislature and government approving the overdraft at Public Works was for the purpose of billing clients post 30 days and paying using internal funds. And that was badly managed, and we take responsibility for that, and we have corrected that. So that issue would still be recurring, Honourable Chair. But what I can safely say to this committee is that as of the end of December 2024, we've disbursed 500 million to contractors who have been outstanding in payments for close to 3 years. That's a mammoth achievement. If you look at it, that when we took over in late August, we were outstanding with contractors' payments in excess of 800 and some odd million. So we've managed to clear that debt. But what happens is that should departments not pay, you get back into, like education, you get back into the 30 days post not honoring Section 38(1)(f) of the PFMA. The next issue, Chair, which was raised by the Auditor General and which this committee wanted feedback on, was the issues around weak internal control deficiencies. Here, Chair, it was mainly around the issue of property rates. Public Works received this year an amount of 1.045 billion with an additional 300 million from Treasury, and thanks to the legislative for approving that. But the problem what you have is that the bill out there is 1.8 billion, so you're still sitting with a 600 million deficit. What we've done, Chair, is not to run away from the people we owe. Those are municipalities which rely on these as their source of income, excluding their equitable share. We've entered into payment agreements with the municipalities, and we now, within the new financial year, have decided to aggregate those property rates payments over a 12-month period and not pay it upfront, whereby it will improve the cash flow of the department. We've met with the municipalities, we've discussed it with CFOs, and listen, they're not happy, but it's what we have to do as government in order for us to stay afloat. The next issues, Chair, were the issue around irregular expenditure. The one thing I must admit before yourself, Chair and honourable members, is that for 7 years, Public Works has not condoned irregular expenditure. Upon the appointment of MEC Mayor, he made it a task that we need to go and appear before the condonation committee at Treasury, and we need to ensure that all determination tests are done as what was given to us by the committee. We've safely, Chair, can say to you in this year, we've managed to condone 227 million, and the 1.5 million that was raised specifically by this committee previously pertains to lease payments, and we've tabled that now for May 2025 to appear before the condonation committee. As we stand, Chair, a total amount of 491.3 million has been condoned by the committee. All these condemnations have indicated from the determination test that there was no fraud, there was no corruption, and there was full realization of service. The issues around it, Chair, the root causes were mainly due to inefficient or inadequate controls, specific reference to the lease management portfolio. We've strengthened that, Chair. We've now automated the entire lease management system for the province of KZN. We also have ensured that each and every staff member, to the value of 227 staff, were internally trained on proper contract management, and we've amended the documents that we use in order to police leases within the province. Currently, within the province, we have 175 leases at a value of 414 million. The next issue around the MI chairperson, and it was a sore issue at last Scopa, and I assured this committee under your leadership that we will come and account before this committee at the next Scopa hearing. I'm happy to note that the report has been received by Treasury. We have taken action against 4 officials. They've all received final written warnings. We have also roped in the Special Investigations Unit, who's quantifying if there's any civil recovery. The problem we have, Chair, and I need to be honest with this committee, is that from inception to completion, or let me say to potential completion of the project, it was messed up. It shouldn't have taken off the ground. It shouldn't have been brought into government, bearing in mind that provinces like Gauteng failed dismally. We should have learned. What we're saying now as Public Works Chair under the Executive Authority and myself, that any project that's going out with respects to ICT, we need to ensure that it must be CETA approved suppliers, and CETA must be on board from day one. We're also saying that the ICT framework, government's framework as well, had loopholes in it and needed to be strengthened. We've done that, and we've changed the policy around whereby now we have checks and balances that if we are going to procure anything in relation to ICT, we need to do proper planning, and we need to also not reinvent the wheel, but look at leading industry partners who are involved in these type of projects and then undertake the project. What we've done here, Chair, and why this litany of errors is that we started off looking at a Toyota Corolla, and when we ended, we were looking at a Rolls-Royce. So that from a Toyota to a Rolls-Royce, that what increased the expenditure. We've successfully as well, Chair, responded to the Material Irregularity Unit in terms of the Public Audit Act at National through the Auditor General in KZN, who's present today. And they've responded to us late afternoon with few queries around quantification of losses, and we need to provide that, and have been given up to the 28th of February to respond to themselves. The whole issue, Chairperson, around the infrastructure delivery at the Lembe District Office. I want to sit here today before you, Chairperson and honourable members, and say that you first have to plan your work and then work your plan. What we've done at Public Works, which is an error, and we take responsibility and accountability for it, is that we built the Lembe unit and then decided then to look for furniture and look at how we're going to move stuff. It should have been the opposite way around, and we failed dismally. That we're now saying that all planning on infrastructure projects must be linked to clear deliverables with clear action timeframes and clear responsibilities with each person before you even undertake that project. So we've done that. The issue around stakeholder collaboration and stakeholder meetings, we've been catnapping on that for many months. Therefore, you find projects not completed. And under the new acting Deputy Director General, we've now decided to resuscitate that entire collab meetings, and therefore we're meeting regularly with respect to monthly meetings with client departments and all interested and affected parties in order to get these projects off the ground. We've also, Chairperson, identified one major weakness. It was also identified by the Portfolio Committee as well, that we do not involve communities in the planning of projects. The Honourable MEC has planned an Imbizo, which we will be undertaking in the next financial year from district per district in order to get the community liaison officers and the ward councillors to be part and parcel of the delivery of infrastructure within the province of KZN. With respect to the Adams Mission project, Chairperson, I'm happy to note that that project has come to almost finality, whereby we've already entered into agreement with the Ingonyama Trust Board to hand over that property to them. The 10 officials that were working at the Adams Mission are now working at the district office. The issue that we're dealing with now, it's around about 3 staff members who have been in the employ of government for over 20 years that are saying that, listen, for us to move down, it's financial, and can't we meet each another halfway? So we're busy with those union representatives and the members negotiating how best we can get a win-win situation out of that. With regards to the last matter, Chairperson, I want to state that forensic investigations and implementation thereof were almost non-existent within the Department of Public Works. The Honourable MEC took office late last year, and he made it a priority to obtain all those investigation reports. I'm happy to safely note to yourselves is that 13 investigations have been completed and implemented, and just today we received 2 more. We do have in the presentation as well, which we covered on slides, detailed updates on each forensic report, and I won't go through it separately, Chair, but what I would like is that if there's any questions, and if there's time permitting, we could be given a chance to then respond, and we'll definitely respond adequately to same. In respect of current forensic reports, Chairperson, we have not commissioned any forensic reports within the department. The reports that were commissioned, all of those officials have been charged. The MEC alluded to that, and that brings us with just, I think we've got about 2 or 3 cases which are outstanding for MMS and below staff, not SMS staff, which we're dealing with as well. I therefore submit same for your consideration, Chair. Thank you. Thank you, honourable members.
Thank you very much, HOD. We will now move over to questions. As is the norm with our other engagements. We ask the Scopa members to ask questions first, and then we will come on to the portfolio committee members. Members, I must just remind you, thank you very much, HOD, for doing such a quick job. Our members, we are supposed to be finished this engagement at 1 o'clock, and some of us have to leave by around that time. So please, can I ask any questions to be short, sharp, to the point? Let's not make speeches if possible, please. I know we're all politicians, but let's try and resist that. Short, sharp, to the point. Answers short, sharp, to the point, HOD and your team, and then we can achieve what we want to achieve. So far, I think I've got Honourable Glungwane. Who was first? I'm not sure if it was Honourable Glungwane, Magubane. Okay, let's do it this order. Honourable Glungwane, Honourable Magubane, Honourable I think was first, I was first, and then Honourable de Klerk. I think I've got everybody. Thanks, Honourable Glungwane, please.
Thanks so much, Chair, and thanks, MEC, with the HOD and the team. You know, Chair, I think I like this guy. I don't know this guy, but I think I like him. Very.
You're developing a crush.
Very precise, understand his issues. I think I like him. I'm being honest that this is what we want. This is what we want. It is clear that it is in top of the issues. That are there. And the departments, then the department will then go forward when you've got that. I think MEC, you are very lucky to. I like him. And I'm very difficult to please. I must assure you, not easy to please. I can assure you, very, very difficult. The only issue I want to ask, it might not necessarily be, because I'm surprised. I was looking at those figures also. The 434 million from the Department of Education. Now, the commitment that is going to be paid, is it coming from the Department of Education? Because they've just left. I'm sure you saw them. They do not have money. Or is it coming from provincial treasury? So I just want to get the assurance. Where is it coming from? Is from the commitment from them, or is the commitment from the provincial treasury? Otherwise, thank you so much.
Thank you, Honourable Glungwane. You would like to respond to that? We respond to and fro. Yeah. Then I'll go to the next member.
No, thank you for that, Chair. And I also want to say I'm humbled, Honourable Member, and thank you. I know last time you were very tough on me, but thank you for being fair. Honourable Chair, it's an excellent question, and I must commend the Honourable Member for raising it. Honestly, the education has 80 million left. They owe 6 billion, and your question is on point. The issue that we've taken with Treasury is that the allocation next year to education is 2 billion. So what's going to happen is it's going to come out of that allocation. Your next question, which I'll answer it also now, is how is education going to work? I really don't know, Honourable Member, but what we know is that you've got to pay Public Works that money because we won't be able to operate. So the monies are going to come from the allocation for 25-26. Your next question would be then how would education work? And it's almost impossible. So it's not coming from any budget but education's budget, but Treasury has been specific with them that you've had many years to do this, to pay, and you failed to pay. And what you continue doing is that you escalate your debt exponentially. You don't decrease it. So you work as business as usual and let Public Works go down the drain. So I don't know what they said to you, but as it stands, they have 80 million left with 6 billion in invoices that needs to be paid. Out of that is 443 Public Works. And 443 to 6 billion is small change compared to what they owe.
Honourable Magubane, or do you have a follow-up?
It's a follow-up, yes.
Sure.
So I just want to be sure that this engagement was with Treasury, and the Treasury will pay it direct, or is still going to go to education?
No, thank you, Honorable Dlungwane. It will actually come straight from Treasury to Public Works, because had it gone to education, which I vehemently opposed, it would never come to Public Works, because from there it would go to other issues. So from National Treasury to Provincial Treasury direct to Public Works.
Thank you. Honorable Magabane.
Thank you, Honorable Chair, and the members, together with the members of the Public Works Committee. HOD, he's coming from Newcastle, Honorable Dlungwane. So we do have fine members in Newcastle. Yeah, he's coming from Newcastle. Yeah, even the chair of chairs is coming from Newcastle. HOD, I'm a little bit confused. Although Honorable Dlungwane has raised this question, we need to be realistic. The digits that are being owed by the Department of Education are too much compared even to the other departments that you see on your table. They almost tripled the highest amount that is owed by any department. So the reality is, even education now is under constraints. How do you then meet halfway? It's a reality. Education, even now, they're requesting for more funds because they cannot cover all their expertise. And at the same time, they're owing the Public Works. So it's not going to materialize. The amount is too big. I think we need to be realistic because each department works with another. It's one government. So what's your plan? Or how do you see it when you look at the digits that are being owed by education? It's one of the crucial departments in our province that you cannot waive or divert any funds from. All the funds must actually be the first priority. It's to provide education to the children in the community. As much as they are owing, do you have a second option for them? That's beside that money being taken all at once, because we cannot solve the Public Works issue and create another one on a very crucial department. So how do you look at that? Is there any second option that you have in place? And then my last question is, when you go to page resolution 228, the irregularities on the payment of the software licenses of 200, that almost 15 was utilized, but there were some payments that were done. And then your resolution, you ended up appointing an external consultant to deep dive on the matter. And what did that one? What was the cost? Maybe was it the cost not as well affecting what you're trying to fix? What was the cost of the external consultant? Number two, what were the findings of the external consultant? Did the external consultant find anything irregular? Are there some officials or individuals that were affected on the results that are given by the consultant? What is your way forward in terms of consequence management on this particular matter? Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson, and thank you, Honorable Magubane, for that both those questions. On the first question, I must admit, and I must be honest with this committee as well, that we tried to get education to the negotiating table. I tried also through the Honorable MEC to get MEC to MEC and HOD to HOD with CFO to CFO. My MEC's pleas fell on deaf ears. We then, and I should have said it at first, but I kept it. I bottled it in. I need to bring it out. We only got them to the table when we decided to issue a dispute through the Intergovernmental Relations Framework Act. And that's a massive step if government has to take that from government to government. And that's when they came to the table. As we stand, Honourable Member and Honourable Chair, honestly, we have to look at what you've said in terms of negotiating. The problem you have, the minute we say to education now and not close up to the time that we're willing to negotiate the amount and the payment plan for that, they tend to then add new projects. They have no, it's hard for me to speak. There's no way of the accounting officer and ourselves saying, listen, we owe you so much. We're not going to do project 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but we're going to focus on 6 and finish it. So we are open to the negotiation table. That's plan B. And out of the 443, we could receive, Honourable Member, just 250 million. It would make us liquid overnight. It would help us to deal with our overdraft and our creditors that we owe out there. So we are open to it. We have not gotten there and we have not negotiated yet because of the fact we are worried that once we do that now, they'll already spend their money. So how they work is that they spend next year's money this year. And we're worried about that. And Treasury is saying, listen, leave that negotiations to us. We will move around their cash flows, but we will only pay all on conditional grants, full amounts. The rest of it on goods and services allow us to negotiate with education on your behalf and come back to the drawing table. So we definitely alive to the fact that there's nothing more important than the kids being educated and schools, teachers being paid and the nutrition program and all those other issues. With regards to the issue, Honourable Magubane, and thank you for that question, Honourable Chair, that cost was zero. The person did it for free. The reason being is that the forensic unit within the Office of the Premier was not providing the report since 2021. And we were sitting with a material irregularity that the MI unit within the AG's office nationally required a response. So the person who did it was from Treasury and it was at zero cost to Public Works. In terms of the findings, Honourable Chair, so we had to buy batches of 50, 4 batches of 50 licenses, which add up to 200. The problem is that out of that, 135 was used, the balance was not used. But there was no fraud and corruption because we had to buy 4 batches of 50. The issue at it is that we failed dismally in the sense of we should have ensured that 200 users logged on and 200 users utilized those licenses. So hence you'll see the I think it's 1.71 million as of 31 has been declared as a material financial loss, and that matter is before now the SIU for whether or not it could be recovered. But the reason why you can't recover it, and I don't want to preempt what the SIU would determine as well, is when you look at liability, you got to look at whether or not that those licenses were bought. And if we didn't buy it, we couldn't use the program. So you have to pay for license in order to use the program. But where the determination test came out is saying that even though you bought 4 batches of 50, you could have bought 1 batch of 50 and tested it with 50 and instead of buying that. So we failed dismally in that, and hence we recorded it as such. In terms of the consequence management action, Honourable Chair and Honourable Members, we've implemented consequence management. We've issued final written warnings to all the staff, but we've taken it a step further. We said, let's go progressive discipline, whereby we involve training and we involve bringing CETA on board to say that let's do a lesson learned workshop. We've done that as well. And the whole issue around Archibus, Honourable Chair, we're very embarrassed about it. It shouldn't have ever happened. I therefore submit same for your consideration.
Mona, I think you were next, and then Honourable de Klerk.
Thank you so much, Chair, and thank you for the presentation, HOD. Indeed, you have covered quite a bit, so I'm trying to go through my questions to see what I can actually ask you. So I'll ask you a couple, and then I'll give you an opportunity to answer. So my first question is, Public Works has stated that it will consider progress on outstanding claims before taking on any new projects. Now, having taken this stance, have you yielded any positive results? What percentage of client departments have made payments? And has this approach resulted in improved debt recovery? That's one. The other one is, what consequences have been implemented for departments that consistently fail to pay for infrastructure and maintenance services? Over to you.
Chair, I thank the Honourable Member, and through you, Honourable Naya. The second question is on point, but it's a question that OTP, if they appear before you, needs to answer, because HODs account to the DG and not to myself and Honourable Mayor. So it's difficult, but honestly, off the record, which is something I shouldn't be saying, I think you should fire accounting officers, because how are you running the department if you're not honoring payments and the PFMA is clear? With regards to the, it's a brilliant question. I don't want to step off it. I honestly can't tell you that how you would give a client department like the Public Works, get a client department signed form by the accounting office and CFO that the monies are available, and it's just signed on paper. In actual practice, there's no monies. So it's just free for all, and that's why we sit where we sit. And had we continued on this, we would bring this entire province. If we continue on this trajectory, we're going to bring the province to its knees. And I think that question, I'm sure that OTP would be better placed. My paycheck doesn't allow me. The second question, Honourable Naya, with regards to the percentage and has it yielded any result? It's one of the harshest decisions to take, to say that as an accounting officer, you're not going to allow projects because it's service delivery. But it's a decision that we had to take, because had we continued, we know that the written submission from yourself will not yield anything. Just to give you an example, from 900 million, we brought it to 443. But because it's compounded, meaning every month it'll go from 50 to 75 to 100, it went back to 739 million as of end of Jan, because I wanted to come with the latest figure. We then said, Treasury, if you don't come on board, this IDA will always be between 500 million and 1 billion. You need to come on board, all payments next year, ring fence it and pay it directly. So on that initiative, what we think, I think, therefore, we reduced it by over 40%. But if you see 53% of that, Honourable Naya and Honourable Members, is education. If education just pays, it would be almost 100%. We'll have recovered everything. It's a very harsh decision. It's a decision that MEC and myself and the team have to take. But we open as well. If Treasury gives a confirmation that we're backing that submission, that yes, there's monies, I can guarantee we'll continue the project, but no new projects until Treasury says yay. Because even Treasury is saying client departments don't listen to us. So the whole issue here is about bad financial management, and no one wants to take accountability. It should lie with the accounting officer.
Thank you for that. You touched a little bit on your property rates and the relationship between municipalities now that you're paying, is it annually? You're paying monthly instead of annually. I do remember the last time you appeared before Scopa, you did say that you were looking into getting discounts and settling. Have you been successful with settling with any of the municipalities? And perhaps just tell us a little bit about that.
No, thank you, Honourable Naya, and thank you. I should have covered that as well. So we've realized that the whole issue around the general valuation rules are that municipalities are levying amounts on, for example, a school in an urban area would be 100 Rand, for example, rateable amount, and a school in a rural area, which is the same type of thing, would be the same amount. It can't be that. So we've never interrogated the valuation rule. The problem we had is that in order to interrogate the valuation rules, you need to have values. And we had no money for compensation employees. We then said, listen, let's go to the Treasury Department. Let's go to Treasury, and we had a meeting with the HOD of Treasury, and together with the MECs who spoke, and Treasury has allocated us 3 valuers. In the last 6 months, we've objected to 2 valuation rules to a total amount of 50.2 million in rebate. The 50% discount is working, but it's going to work better now when we pay monthly, because municipalities used to get that in by latest August and get a whole amount paid in advance for the whole year, and they use that amount to run their municipality. But now we're saying, no, we're going to pay you monthly. So you'll be forced to say, okay, if we want your whole amount, it's fine. Give us 50% on that. Other issues that we picked up as well, and I must admit to this committee, and thanks to the MEC, because I was upset when he mentioned it, when he took office, that we haven't audited our asset register. We have 10,500 assets. Now that we're auditing it, we can really see what we own as government. And are we responsible for the rates or not? And those who are in those buildings, what do we do with them? The other thing you would note, and it's coming out, it came out from the Bill KZN Property Conference, is that most of our properties that we own for government, MEC's mantra and our mantra, that's ours now, together with the portfolio, what doesn't work for public works, we're getting rid of it. We're repurposing it and we're giving it out to the private sector. We're adding to job creation, reducing unemployment, and also those issues around safety. So the whole issue here, Honourable Members and Honourable Naya, is that If we don't work closely with municipalities and we don't realize those fundings, National is never going to give us the 1.8 billion. And if we don't dispose of properties and reprioritize them, you're going to have this thing. So it's a multitude of different mechanisms we're trying to realize to bring down the rates thing. The most important one is attacking the general valuation. And this year, we plan on attacking eThekwini's valuation. It's in a state.
It's still on the topic of rates and evaluation. You've appointed 6 additional valuers to assess excessive municipal property rates increases. Can you tell us a little bit about the preliminary findings from their assessments?
So that 6 is still to, they've been appointed, they're still to come to Public Works, but we have one valuer for the entire KwaZulu-Natal province, which is a nightmare. I don't know how come we have one valuer when we should. MEC asked that question that we couldn't answer as technocrat. Hence, we then decided that if you want to bring that rates bill down, to give you an example on those 2 municipalities, we've looked at only schools in those municipalities and 50.2 million on one valuation role, and just a few things. So if we had to do all 53 municipalities, the figure would probably get close to 500, 600 million. It will bring the figure back then down to the 1-point-something billion that we're getting for Public Works. But what we've decided is that if we cash flow rates, Honorable Naya and Honorable Chair, monthly, we won't have to pay then according to the financial year for municipality, because their financial year runs from July to June or June to July. And we're paying, our financial year ends in April. So we're paying 3 months in advance. It's eating into our budget for the next year. So that whole move about paying now monthly brings us, we can actually honor all bills. Once we attack it with the values, we attack it with disposal of properties. However, we're going to dispose it either long-term lease or outright purchase. We're going to bring the rates bill almost 50% down from 1.8.
Let's move along to irregular expenditure. Now we've read that you expect to clear all irregular expenditure from prior years by May 2025. Now, what percentage of irregular expenditure remains unresolved? And what is your plan if this deadline is not met? That's one. And the other one is, of the 333.9 million in historical irregular expenditure, what portion is recoverable and how much has been successfully condoned by Treasury? Over to you.
No, thank you, Honorable Naya. I think the determination tests have come out, and I've said it, that there was no fraud and corruption. Full value was realized, mainly around lease management. 2 of them are infrastructure projects, and those are already on the file in terms of forensic cases. You'll see from the slides that we put about. The problem you have with lease management is that the Treasury note instruction came out and Treasury themselves delayed the approvals. So it becomes irregular because the client was still there, but the lease was not concluded. The percentage that is outstanding now, I'll hand it over to CFO because I know he did tell me, but it's a very nominal amount. I think we've got 66 million that's going next week, and that brings it to another 112 million that will be left over. But I'm not sure in terms of percentage. I know he did give me whether it's 20% that's outstanding or 30%. I'm not sure, but he would be able to probably cover that, Honorable Naya.
Yeah, thank you. Actually, I think that the percentage is around about 22 to 25%. Because 112 over the 700 somewhat million rand.
So you are on track to meet your deadline, your target.
We will meet we probably meet it before the May 25 deadline. Yeah.
All right, excellent. And the portion that is recoverable?
I think those on those 2 infrastructure projects, I'm not so certain about what that portion is, but it's nominal. Bulk of that 717 million was leases, very nominal amount. I think 2 of those infrastructure projects, which are already cases at SAPS at the moment. But whether or not it's recoverable, remember, these people they'll defend themselves in court. They'll come to court and say otherwise. So we wait for that process to finish.
And then my final question is relating to the Ilembe District Office Building. Now, you've said that you've advertised for a panel of consultants to mitigate disruptions from project cancellations. What criteria will be used to select these consultants? And how will they be held accountable for their performance? How are you going to rate them?
Okay, I'm going to allow the Chief Financial Officer to take that question, but I'm just going to highlight what we've noticed, and therefore we want to plug that hole. So when a contractor does not perform on a site, we cancel the contract and then we enter into a new contract. You will note the MEC is losing air with that On the initial contract is 55 million. On the cancellation contract, after the contract is done work, it's 75 million. So there's huge problem. So we said, listen, if there's a panel that's readily available, once you cancel Vish from project A and you're going on a new completion contract, you can just source that. The criteria, ma'am, I won't know, but the CFO will be able to answer that.
Thank you, HOD. So the panel of consultants that we put is mostly your professional consultants in terms of various disciplines. The criteria will come from our infrastructure unit in terms of what they're looking in aligned to the various disciplines. So here we'd be looking at your architects, your quantity surveyors, your civil engineers, and there are definite criteria in terms of years of experience, project that they've done prior to this, location of where those consultants are, so local economic development and the like as well. So we'll build it around your pre-qualifying criteria, and we'll also look at what are the risks inherent on some of our complex major projects. So there are categories of projects that we look at. We'll build it around that, and then we will then put a panel. But putting a panel of consultants doesn't necessarily mean that we can easily choose a consultant from there. There still has to be a process within that panel so that we can get quotations from them. So within that panel, so that we choose the most appropriate consultant. So it's not just there's a panel and we're only going to give preference to those individuals. But within that panel that is there, if there are new entrants, they will also be allowed to join that panel as well. So it's not just that we will source individuals from that. Your second part to that was, how would we measure the performance of those consultants? There are conditions of appointment when they get appointed, and we will measure them against that conditions of appointment as contemplated in the CIDB standards of uniformity and rules as well. But more than that, also, I think the department is currently working on a service level agreement that we will conclude with those consultants, and we'll align their payments with a Gantt chart in terms of milestones and deliverables that is expected of them when they deliver the services. Thanks.
Thank you so much. I'm happy with that. Over to you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honourable Naya. Now I'll come to committee members last. Okay. Honourable Clerk, if there's anything, we've got 20 minutes left.
Few seconds, I think will work.
So yeah, in 30 seconds or less, Honourable Clerk. Thank you.
Dr. Govender, I just want to confirm one thing. The monies from education will come directly to you. Did I understand you correctly that your department did reach out to education and they just didn't come to the table? How many times did you reach out to them?
No, thank you, Honourable Member. You know, weekly, daily, messages, WhatsApps, emails, to a point where, Honourable Chair and Honourable Members, we had people protesting outside Public Works with placards, and we had to convene a meeting, painfully so, and explain to people why we haven't paid them, and their children have gone without food in December and without many of the other things that people would need to live on. If you look at a 22-day worked month, 22 days, 22 days in that month we've tried. Yeah. Not even a WhatsApp will get. It'll get read.
Sorry, the amount that you will get is 280 million.
443 million.
443. My question is this: what services did education get for that 400? Because I think that's important. If you get schools built for you, you can't give school if you don't have classrooms and schools. Then it's an abhorrent action to not pay.
Mainly around schools, mainly around non-maintenance as well, projects of schools as well, and 101 million on leases. They are our biggest client in terms of lease management, the lease management portfolio. But bulk of them were schools that were built, storm damage as well, schools, maintenance on schools. Boreholes were 66 million, which, yeah, water and sanitation projects. The problem that you have with education, Honourable De Klerk and Honourable Chair and Honourable Members, there's no rules. They just do whatever they have to do and try to keep education going. When I heard yesterday about the 80 million, well, in cabinet about 80 million and 6 billion, I was just worrying how is Public Works going to get their 443.
Just lastly, when all these agreements were made, the ones that wasn't paid, were you ever informed by education, look, we do have a problem. If you contract with us, you're on a risky ground. Or was those documents signed by the CFO saying we will pay?
No, thank you for that question, Honorable de Klerk. It was signed by the CFO and the HOD that it will. Also, we have an IPP, infrastructure plan that we sign as well with the client department. There's so many checks and balances. All those plans have been signed. All those requests have confirmed that there is funding. But in reality, there was never funding.
Thank you, Chair.
Yes, you may. MEC.
Thank you so much. And I was about to ask Public Works to come fix the air cons, but I see they are working, Chair. Also, Honourable de Klerk, just to add to that, that if Public Works makes a noise about projects coming to us saying, but where's the money going to come from? Education just goes to one of the other implementing agents like KUGA or IDT. So what they owe us, times that before, because that's what they owe the others as well. Thank you.
All right, members, my few comments now before I get into portfolio committee members. The first comment is in one of your responses, you referred to working with CETA. Just a quick question. I had my run-ins with CETA many years ago in Parliament, and at that point they were a department that had been hollowed out completely by a certain gentleman who was an ex-policeman. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. Are they back as a capable state entity now, or are they still at sea, or where are they?
No, thank you, Honourable Chair. We've had a meeting with CETA and we've explained CETA that what cost the department 10 Rand, CETA would come with 200. And we're saying to them, we're not going to accept those services. If you want to work with us and the billing you're giving us, you need to account. So CETA has dropped their bill for Public Works as well because we've attacked their billing as well. We've also said, fortunately enough, we've been given a good bunch of individuals from CETA for Public Works. CETA as a whole is it's a subject that I can't get into. But for Public Works, I'm happy with the
point for those uninitiated. If you don't know IT architecture and IT things, somebody might try and sell you this for R1 million. But if you know it's a cell phone, you'll say, no, that's 20,000. That's the whole point of CETA. Yes, MEC?
Chairperson, I know you don't like it if we interrupt, but just to add to that as well, that we have received from the Minister of Telecommunications, and they changed the name of it, yes. And they are busy redoing the regulations for CETA. It is before Cabinet at the moment here for comments, which will include that we will get much easier options not to use CETA in future, which we are welcoming as a department, but that will also be in the process of an MOU with the Ministry that side as well to improve services. Thank you.
Yeah, I'd just encourage every single department to have some sort of advisory body that helps them with IT architecture, because most normal human beings, when you start discussing it, glaze over within about a minute and simply don't understand it. And that's where a lot of looting and plundering happens, big time. Members, it's a comment to the department, a comment of congratulation. The document was up. I don't know where it's gone now. But can we put that document back up, which is the forensic investigations report? I don't know who's got it. It was up. I want to just compliment you on this report. It's detailed. For those of you members, if you've looked through it, it did come through in all the correspondence. I just want to commend you, because this is exactly what we want from every department. And members, if you have the chance just to look through it after this meeting over the weekend, maybe before Tuesday, you'll see the level of detail. And I think if we could try and almost use this as a template to try and get other departments to report to us like this, then we don't have to waste time asking the kind of questions. If we receive this report, we have a clear picture of what's going on. And also, I'd like you to look at this in conjunction with the sub judice opinion that I have now shared with the committee. You can see there's a lot of detail there about the matter. It doesn't mention any person, so it doesn't go over that line, but it gives us kind of assurance that the department is seized with the matter. when you have vague descriptions of that, you're not entirely sure that is actually something happening, or you're just trying to make us happy. And so I think I just want to commend you and your department, MEC, for this sort of work. We've seen you've been very busy on this front. It's unpleasant, but it's necessary. And this is the kind of report we want to see, and I thank you for that. And I just think it's something we can look at as a template, as a committee, saying this is the level of detail we'd like from departments. With that, that's my input as a Scopa member. So now we'll take questions from the honourable member down there. If I can just say, honourable member, you're not aware of this, but I preface asking that you ask Scopa questions. If there are questions of policy, strategic direction, etc., that please is for your portfolio committee meeting. So if you have a Scopa public account related question, please feel free to ask. If it's not, I ask that you reserve it for portfolio committee. That is our standard procedure at Scopa. Do you still wish to ask a question?
Thank you, Chair. No, my one is small.
Thank you.
HOD, thank you for the report. No, I was just reading here 2.23 resolution that money education is owing public works was long overdue, like more than 120 days. What is holding Treasury? Because they support to Treasury should programmatic debits that relevant allocation to pay. What is the delay? Maybe if you can finish us about what was the outcome with provincial treasury with the department for the payment of this debt. 3, have you got any prior arrangement been made that projects will be not starting before the debt paid, or there's any percentage they must pay before you start that embarking on that new projects? Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Member, for that question, and through you, Honourable Chair. So Treasury, there's a National Treasury instruction note that says that post 30 days, Treasury should pay that money over to us. The problem that Treasury had is that exactly what Honourable Magubane raised, that had they paid that monies over to Public Works, other necessary programs within education would have not been fulfilled. We then went to Treasury and said, but that's not Public Works problem, that's a problem of the department. But Public Works is saying, those debt that are over 120 days, why can't we ring fence it and issue an instruction note? And that's what they're doing now in the CFO's forum, and that's what that would come out now in just before April 2025, whereby the monies will be ring fenced. But to answer you, it should have been done when it was 30 days, not left at 120 days. And the problem that they couldn't do it is because there is no money. Education spends a budget 1 year before the financial year could start. With respect to us meeting with them and saying to them that we won't start new projects if they don't honor old projects, it's the only way that we can hold them accountable, because accounting officer to accounting officer, it's a DG that must hold that accounting. Myself and him are on the same level. So for now, without us putting in these mechanisms, they would have sent us, at the moment, we have 300 active projects for education.
Thank you very much, HOD. Are there any other questions from any of the other portfolio committee members? All right, there are no further questions. So that leaves me now to hand over to the MEC. If there are any closing remarks, MEC, thank you very much. Yes, sure.
Thank you so much, Chair. I did note the acting HOD's remark about me losing hair. And now I understand why the Honourable Mashlaba has less hair than me, because he's been in this position before. So Public Works does make you lose hair, unfortunately, it seems. Honourable Chairperson, I thank Scopa for this, and I've said this before and I will say it again. Public Works and the Ministry sees Scopa as our partners in a road to a clean department and an efficient department. So we take all notes, whether it's positive or negative, from this committee.
We have some order. I'm struggling to hear the MEC for conversations on that side. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Chairperson. We welcome all comments and criticism and guidance from this committee because it helps us in our road to getting better. It has really been a rough time for Public Works, but if you look at the results and look at the real numbers, if you looked at our debt dropping on a daily basis, if you looked at that municipalities are now being paid, if you look at that contractors are now getting money in their pockets, then that we are doing what our core mandate is in the end of the day. And I want to be very clear on that, why these interdepartmental payments are so important to us. Because I've been asked in the past, why don't we just write off education debt? Because that is money that we owe to contractors. It's not our money. It's not our bank account. And I repeat this because it's an absolute truth. Every subcontractor not paid by us is a child going to bed hungry. That's the reality. And I don't know about the other members in this room, but I can't sleep if I know people are going to bed hungry because I didn't do my job properly. So we're doing everything in our power to fix these things. We thank Treasury for their assistance. We thank this committee for their assistance. We know you had education before. The acting HOD now said, we actually wish you had education after us because we think it might have been a different meeting with education if they appeared after we did. But please remember this at your next scoping engagement with education. But thank you, Chairperson, for this engagement. I leave you encouraged, knowing that our partners in building a clean department is working with us going forward. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, MEC. Members, colleagues, we've done very well. Our aim was to finish at 1 o'clock, so I'm sure all our colleagues who are rushing off to other engagements are very happy. I suppose that means you won't be having lunch, which means more for me. No, I'm just kidding, members. Members, thank you very much for your attention and your time today. We will continue our activities next week, Tuesday, in the same venue, for a nice long day of Scopa, and then we'll be done with this batch except for that transport meeting. Thank you very much, members. I wish you well for the weekend, and I ask that you all travel safely and look after yourselves. Cheerio. Bye-bye. The meeting's adjourned. Thanks.
Thank you, Chair.